Chapter 11:22. Am I Tang Wei not sexy? If you want it to be big, if you want it to be bouncy, if you want it to be big, if you want it to be bouncy, if you want it to be big, 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 if you want it to be BG was talking about the process of wanting to have a child, but Uncle Wei was talking about the process of giving birth. Oh my God! What's wrong, Lil Tang? Did you catch a cold? Seeing that Tang Wei was about to faint, Wei Chong hurriedly held on to her. Tang Wei didn't want to talk anymore. She covered her forehead and said, Uncle Wei, let me calm down. I'm afraid that I might accidentally hurt you. Don't worry, Lil Tang. Uncle Wei is very powerful. You won't be able to hurt me by accident. Puff, Tang Wei felt that blood was coming out from her chest. Your sister. Oh God, Tang Wei will never be able to enjoy the pleasure of being a woman in my entire life. Wei Chong looked at Tang Wei, who was in his embrace. He really couldn't bear to see her so worried at such a young age. She actually wanted to enjoy the process of giving birth. Was giving birth enjoyable? Tang Bingyao was still a university student, so he did not even have this bit of common sense. Sigh, he was afraid that Tang Bingyao would get depressed in the future. Tang Wei wanted to say that even if she became depressed in the future, it would be because of Uncle Wei. Meanwhile, in another inn, LV Shu also received the information from Xiao Air. These attendants were probably members of the intelligence organization, responsible for distributing information to clients. In fact, this was one of the benefits of the inn, a method to attract customers. It was just that Wei Chong and the others did not know about it. Tonight, a small workshop in the south of the city. LV Shu clapped her hands. He was very excited. Pure gold. If I can get my hands on the pure gold and pass it to His Honor. It was as if they could hear His Honor announcing to everyone right now. LV Liang, you did well this time. I want to praise you. While this is simply the peak of life, the climax of life. Look at my boss, Uncle Wei. It is very rare for him to be praised by His Honor. If I am able to be praised by His Honor this time around, I will definitely become the envy of everyone. So cool, so cool. In order to get praise, he would stop at nothing. Wifey, don't go, it's too dangerous. Lulu said in a deep voice. Presumably, the two groups of people trading today were all experts. If they were to fight, the situation would be complicated, and he wouldn't be able to take care of them. The vampire sisters were very sensible. They completely obeyed LV Liang's instructions and struck wherever she pointed. Master Mage, why don't we go and show off tonight? Sun Fong rubbed against Death Mage's shoulder and twitched her eyebrows. LV Liang blushed with shame. Sister-in-law really knows how to tease a mage, so showy. If there was a hierarchy, sister-in-law would definitely be the god of show. GGG, Imperial Translation. I am a demon, not Xiao. Hubby, if we go tonight, we will definitely be in danger. We must act in secret and not expose ourselves too early. LV Lu nodded. Her wife was right. Very few people would know about such a secret, so they had to plan their robbery carefully. Hubby, you have to wear black clothes at night so that you can hide in the dark. Wow, my wife, you're so smart. Even black clothes can't hide my green hair. LV Liang touched her hair. It was hard. It was obvious that she had used too much hair gel. Yin Lang laid on the ground and was dispirited. In the future, he had to do something to make the *T shoveling officers more active. In the Meng family, right now, Long Outyen had also received the news and was currently discussing with Jiu Yi whether or not they should go to the small workshop in the south of the city to do something. Outyen, it is better to be careful about this matter. Old ginger is spicier. Jiu Yi had been around for a very long time. This kind of information was not reliable. Long Outyen rubbed his forehead. It would be great if teacher were to personally take action. But teacher doesn't seem to have any feelings towards this matter. Outyen, what do you plan to do? Long Outyen pondered for a long time, then said in a low voice, Jiu Yi, How about we go and take a look at tonight? If there's a chance, we will make our move. If there's no chance, we will just forget about it. That's fine, let's first see how strong the person who is making the transaction is. Jiu Yi said gravely. Long Outyan nodded his head. Since it is a secret report, if I and Jiu Yi go secretly, we shouldn't be discovered. Grandpa, Daddy, I will go and protect you too. Chu Yuxuan appeared out of nowhere and said with a cold tone. Jiu Yi took a look at Long Outyan. What he meant was very simple. When are you going to finish poking the other party? It won't do if you continue like this. Long Outyan also gave Jiu Yi a look. Don't worry, I will definitely finish poking the other party next time. Go and play with little brother. Little brother doesn't want to play with me. Chu Yuxuan said faintly. Long Outyan and Jiu Yi didn't want to talk to Chu Yuxuan anymore. This is simply a torture. Go and play outside, don't disturb me and Grandpa's discussion. All right, Daddy, Grandpa, the two people. Jiu Yi suddenly said in a low voice, will that set of acupuncture technique of yours be able to stab someone to death? There is a certain probability of it happening. How much? 50%. Jiu Yi was dumbstruck. To still not die even after that. This fellow's luck is not just ordinary. The demon city was slowly enveloped by the curtain of night, and because the number of people in the streets increased explosively, it seemed to be extraordinarily bustling. However, along with the arrival of night, the bustling scene gradually faded away, especially at the south of the city. It was so cold that it made one's hair stand on end, as if something bad was going to happen very soon. Right now, Qing Yutong was currently looking at Yi Zizi and Kai Yin, who were wearing nocturnal clothing. Using their words, if they were to wear the nocturnal clothing, no one would be able to see them at night. Motherf asterisk her, are you trying to bluff a 3-year-old child? Aya, it fits too well. Yang Haoyan immediately praised, because he was the one who suggested it, and he didn't expect that the two big sisters would actually agree to it. This is a good start. Who knows, Yi Zizi might even let me touch her butt, and if that happens, I would be able to get what I wanted. Yi Zizi's symbolic ponytail was already wrapped within a black cloth, and her face was also covered, only revealing a little bit of her eyes. Yi Zizi had no idea who she was. Kai Yun, who was at the side, was the same. While leaning on the side, Brett said faintly, even if you stuff more, it won't change the fact that you are a flat-chested girl. Big-chested girl, say that one more time, I'll suck you to death. Brett pouted his mouth and leaned on the door. Looking towards the direction of Voidless Realm, he was currently thinking about Zhu Tian. I wonder what Zhu Tian is currently doing. I reckon that he is currently nuzzling those two women on the bed. When I return this time, I definitely have to properly reward Zhu Tian, at least 1 month. It's getting late, if you want to go then go, don't make the matter too big. Qing Yutong warned in a low voice. These two are the ones who are causing trouble. Yu Hua, who was at the side, warned. Banner Master, when I'm not by your side, you have to take good care of yourself. Aya, Yu Hua, I'm not a child, of course I know, goodbye. After finished speaking, Yu Hua and Yi Zizi disappeared from the spot. A small workshop in the south of the city. A black figure was shuttling back and forth on the rooftop. This person was precisely Qi Shuwen. How could he not come? End of this chapter. Chapter 11:23. As the workshop got closer and closer, Qi Shuwen slowed down to small steps. Qi Shuwen turned around and peeked at the small workshop. With a single glance, his black mask almost fell to the ground. There were so many black-clothed men in such a small workshop. Were they all here to trade for the pure gold? There were too many of them. And that person on the roof. My God. Is this a black-clothed people gathering? Didn't that waiter say it was a secret report? Why did so many people know about the secret report? Wasn't this nonsense? Brother, are you here for the pure gold as well? While Qi Shuwen was still in shock, a voice suddenly rang out in his ears, causing him to almost fall off the roof. Get lost. After saying that, he changed to another roof. Long Outyan was puzzled. This guy is really hot-tempered. At this moment, Lord Jiu also ran over and laughed. Is this really a secret intelligence? Don't tell me they're having a black clothes party. Yeah. Why are there so many people in black? We were thinking of sneaking in and taking a look at the others. We should have just walked through the main gate, Long Outyin said. This was the first time he had seen something like this, and his jaw was about to drop to the ground. Look at those black-clothed men standing at the gate and chatting. Are you serious? This is simply like a masquerade ball. Right now, LV Liang and Death Mage were standing within the group of black-clothed men. LV Liang didn't want to say anything else. This information was really accurate, but there were too many people who obtained this information. There's even a black-clothed man setting up a stall next to it. What are you thinking? He was even doing business. Couldn't they just snatch things properly? Master Mage, there are too many people here, it's going to squeeze me to death. LV Liang mumbled. GGG. Imperial translation. Let's go into the workshop to take a look. Seeing that Death Mage was squeezing his way in, LV Lu hurriedly followed after him. In any case, they had to squeeze their way in. However, within the crowd, a black-clothed man was squeezed to the side, and he was about to get angry. What's wrong with you? Don't you know there are a lot of people here? And they were squeezing as if their lives depended on it. This man in black was Everlasting Hatred, the sect master of the Broken Meridian sect, who had sneaked out. Because he had also received the information, he decided to come and take a look. Of course, he had to disguise himself and put on a night suit. He had thought that with his strength, he would definitely be able to snatch the pure gold. But he had never imagined that there would be so many black-robed men here. Even the nightwear was of the same style. It was definitely sold by the same merchant. Seeing some people squeezing into the small workshop, Lonesome Hatred also wanted to go in and see the situation. Since he was already here, he had to gain something. There were two short people in the crowd. Those two people were naturally Yi Zizi and Kai Yun. Facing such a scene, Yi Zizi and Kai Yun did not feel disappointed. On the contrary, they felt very interested. There were so many black-clothed people, and no one knew who was who. If they were to fight later, it would definitely be very crazy. I really made the right decision coming here this time. Kai Yun, what do you think? Yi Zizi said happily. That's right. I've never seen so many black-robed men before. Kai Yun was convinced as well. There were indeed a lot of people here. Let's go into the workshop to take a look. I feel like there are a lot of experts here. I feel it too. They were all lured here by the pure gold. Just what is this pure gold? Kai Yun asked curiously. Yi Zizi said in a low voice. Although I don't know what it is with so many people here, it is definitely not an ordinary thing. If we are able to snatch it, that would be even better. This way it would also be good for his honor. That's right, but can the transaction still be carried out normally? No fool would make a transaction in front of so many people. It is very possible that they would be beaten up. Who knows, the person who made the transaction might be amongst the black-clothed people. Yi Zizi said faintly. It had to be said that right now, Yi Zizi had also started to use her brain. Looking at it from a certain angle, it was indeed possible. Everyone present were black-clothed people. If it was a premeditated plan, then they could completely use their identity as black-clothed people to make the transaction. This way, the risk would be reduced, and it would also not be discovered by others. Because everyone here were black-clothed people, who would know who was the one making the transaction. Very quickly, two petite figures walked into the small workshop. Uncle Wei, is this a black-clothed people gathering? Tang Wei had already realized that she was going to be a virgin for the rest of her life. In the future, even if Uncle Wei wants it, I will not give it to him. Wei Chong said gravely. Seems like the secret report has been leaked, which resulted in so many people knowing about it. What should we do then? These black-clothed people actually started to set up stalls to sell things, my God. Tang Wei covered her eyes, unable to bear to look straight at the scene. Can we still properly snatch things? Can we at least make the atmosphere a bit more stifling? This matter is just like strolling in a market. Furthermore, it is a market where everyone is wearing the same uniform. It is not serious at all, and even feels that it is too sloppy. Xiao Tang, I feel that something is not right, pay attention. Wei Chong said in a low voice as he hugged Tang Wei to his side, to prevent her from being taken advantage of by the surrounding men. Jiu Yi. Quickly look over there, two black-clothed people are actually hugging each other. Long Outyen's lower jaw was about to drop onto the ground. Are they gay? They are actually hugging each other. Jiuyi said gravely, I got it. Jiuyi, what did you get? Long Outyen asked anxiously. Jiuyi had a lot of experience. Facing this kind of situation, he would definitely have his own opinion. Jiuyi said unhurriedly, the small workshop in the south of the city this time should be a type of masquerade ball that is similar to the masquerade ball that we have back at our side. In actuality, there isn't any news of pure gold at all. Look at how many people are coming and going. It is just like strolling in the streets. Jiuyi, after hearing what you said, I also have the same feeling. Long Outyen said helplessly. This is most likely a kind of local custom. It is commonly known as a black-clothed people gathering. If not, why would those black-clothed people set up stalls to sell things? If they were making a barbecue at the side right now, I Long Outyen would not feel curious at all. Let's go back. There definitely won't be any results tonight. Jiuyi said helplessly. I came out for nothing. Long Outyen nodded his head. Far away from home, there is actually a masquerade ball. This city of villains is a bit interesting. Long Outyen and Jiuyi left very quickly. The situation is right in front of me. I have no choice but to believe it. Within the crowd, Taihe was also wearing black clothes, and his complexion was a bit bad. This is also called secret information? Then what is called not secret information? Is there anyone who plays with people like this? I, a dignified overlord, was even tricked, and I was even tricked into coming here. To think that there are actually so many people squeezed into such a small workshop. And there are also those bragging people. Are you all here to snatch things or not? If you are not, then please leave. Don't let this place be so crowded. F***K, those two black-clothed people are actually hugging each other. This is simply too strange. End of this chapter. Chapter 11:24. I should just go in and take a look. If there isn't anything, then forget about it. Taihe squeezed in with all his might, and suddenly, he felt his body being rubbed against. It seems like someone threw something into his clothes. The scene was simply too chaotic. I don't know who it was at all, there are so many people around. Taihe took it out and took a look. It was a piece of golden leaf. Pure gold. Pure gold has appeared. Following a person's shout, everyone looked towards Taihe. Taihe was stupefied. This piece of golden leaf is pure gold. How is this possible? Isn't this too easy? Also, where is the person who was shoved to me just now? This is a framing. Right now, everyone outside of the workshop looked towards Taihe, and their gazes were all locked onto Taihe's face. And the piece of golden leaf in Taihe's hand was so unique, and it was even glowing. Everyone's face revealed a look of greed. This information is indeed accurate. Pure gold has really appeared. No one at the scene knew what pure gold looked like, and subconsciously, they felt that the piece of golden leaf in Taihe's hand was pure gold. Taihe had never seen pure gold before, but in this situation, even if there was a mouth growing on his chest, he wouldn't be able to explain it. Should I display my strength? Kill my way out? But if I display my strength, wouldn't that be equivalent to telling others that I am the dean of the Shen institution? A highly respected senior actually did such a despicable thing. If this news were to spread, where would my face be? Furthermore, is that piece of golden leaf in my hand? If I throw it out right now, it will definitely be fine, but what if it is real? Wouldn't it be a huge loss if I throw it out? Brothers, beat him to death. Someone in the crowd shouted as he charged towards Taihe in exalt. While Taihe was still pondering, the black-clothed man beside him already made his move. There's no other way. I can only suppress my Xiuwen, pretend to be trash, and then run. Following the appearance of the golden leaf, the scene immediately became restless. The people inside the workshop all rushed out, and even the door of the workshop was kicked to pieces. And this workshop's boss is definitely going to cry himself to death in the toilet. Who did I offend, to actually want to spread the news in my workshop? Qi Shuwen, who was lying on the roof, decided to watch first, then decide if he should make his move or not. He cannot act rashly right now. Moreover, there were many black-clothed men lying on the rooftops, and they all had the same idea as Qi Shuwen. The situation at the scene immediately became chaotic, mixed with the screams of the black-clothed men. Of course, there were also black-clothed men flying in the air, screaming. Everyone didn't expect that this person would be so powerful, and all of them surrounded at the side and watched, as a supreme being. How could Taihe allow others to hit him? These were all subconscious movements, but he realized that his movements were a little exaggerated, as if he was invincible. This person's movements seemed to belong to deity institution. Yeah, I felt it too. F***ck. Even deity institutions people have come to steal things. Simply shameless. Taihe cursed in his heart. I didn't think too much about it just now, but they actually noticed something. This was not good news. After all, Shen Institution's reputation was extremely good. They couldn't let their reputation be ruined today. That was why Taihe could only suppress his voice and shout, I am not someone from Deity Institution. If you aren't from Shen Institution, then what are you? That set of footwork just now belongs to Shen Institution. Taihe, you can even see that? I didn't even move just now. You actually said that my footwork is like Shen Institution's. Why don't you go and die? You don't even know how to lie. Could it be that you are the Dean of Deity Institution? Taihe. At this time, a black-clothed man walked out and questioned Taihe. Taihe's heart sunk. You even guessed it correctly. Is my black cloak fake? Or do your eyes have the ability to see through things? Taihe said gravely. Deity Institution's Dean Taihe is a supreme being. How could he come here to steal such a vulgar thing? You said that you aren't. Do you have any proof? What proof do I have that I am not Taihe? Right now Taihe was a bit flustered. If I run away, that would be equivalent to me admitting that I am Taihe. But if I take off my mask, that would be equivalent to me being exposed. How am I supposed to continue living in Kangluo continent in the future? I am very weak. I am not as strong as Supreme Taihe. Taihe said gravely. Then what you displayed just now wasn't weak at all. Taihe really wanted to kill this black-clothed man in front of him. This damned fellow. That is because I took drugs just now. Taihe started to talk nonsense, feeling that he was a bit out of luck. So it turns out that you took drugs. Do you dare to spar with me? The black-clothed man asked gravely. Taihe felt that the dookie within his body was rumbling. To think that a trash like you is qualified to spar with me. Supreme Taihe, with a single slap from me, I will be able to send you to the north. Alright. Please. Taihe said helplessly. For the sake of Deity Institution's reputation, as well as my own dignity, I have to give way, the black-clothed man shouted gravely. Look carefully. This fist technique of mine is called Mighty Tiger Fist. Every single punch of mine is filled with ferocious dookie. If you are able to block all of my punches, then you are definitely Supreme Taihe. Taihe, you motherfucker. Just this dog's hit Mighty Tiger Fist of yours. Anyone would be able to block it. What's wrong with me blocking it? If I fucking block it, then I am Taihe, then there are too many Taihe in this world. Chi Shuwen, who was lying on the roof, felt that this voice is very familiar. As if I have heard this voice before, but who exactly is it? I can't remember. In actuality, this black-clothed man is precisely Xian Ba, and the one who planned this was naturally Mu Hong. After Taihe humiliated me like that today, I definitely won't let him off just like that. Thus, I called my son-in-law over and discussed the plan. After Xian Ba heard the plan, he was quite shocked. However, when he thought about Taihe's character, he knew that he definitely wouldn't expose his identity, so he directly agreed to it. Furthermore, looking at the current situation, this Taihe indeed doesn't dare to expose his identity. Right at this moment, Xian Ba shouted out furiously, and the strength of a spirit ancestor was immediately displayed. Everyone cried out in shock. I didn't expect that this person is actually a spirit ancestor. So powerful. Even Taihe was a bit shocked. If this person is a spirit ancestor, then this punch of mine is indeed quite powerful. However, I am an overlord. The toughness of my physical body is already not something that a spirit ancestor can harm. Only with this punch of mine can Overlord remain unscathed. Xian Ba shouted out coldly. Taihe really wanted to curse out at this black-clothed man in front of him. Is there a hole in your brain? Spirit Emperor is also able to block it. Do you even have a bit of knowledge? You can't deceive these little kids in the surroundings like this. Mighty Tiger Fist. Xian Ba shouted out furiously. then immediately took a step forward with his right leg, causing the bluestone to break apart, and the aura of a spirit ancestor whizzed out. Taehi only felt that this is called a kitten fist. However, if I don't do something, it seems like end of this chapter. Chapter 11:25. Bang. This punch landed heavily on Taehi's chest. Taehi didn't feel anything at all. It felt like a light touch. However, the shockwaves swept through the area. Everyone could not help but raise their heads and cover their eyes. This black-clothed man was so strong. Pooh. Taehi forced himself to spit out a mouthful of blood, and after that he was sent flying. Xianba was stupefied. I actually sent Deity Institution's Dean, Supreme Taehi, flying with a single punch, and even vomited blood. Awesome. Taehi held onto his chest. Just now, I forcefully held onto a mouthful of blood, and it seems like there's a problem with me holding back my blood. F***K. If this golden leaf was not pure gold, then he would have suffered a great loss. As expected of the mighty tiger fist, it is indeed domineering. Taehi struggled to stand up. However, Shinbao exclaimed, after being hit by my mighty tiger fist, other than Supremes, no one else can stand up. What the F***ck? Enough. Do you think I'm shameless? Although he was wearing a mask, but he still felt his face rubbing against the ground. Can't you give me some face? Forget it. Standing far away, Mu Hong was finally able to vent out the hatred in his heart. In the afternoon, there were still rumors that I kneeled down to Taehi. You shameless fellow, this old man used a small trick to make you suffer unspeakably. This son-in-law was not bad. He was bold and meticulous. Taehi took 2 deep breaths, calming the battle chi in his body. He was so close to releasing the terrifying aura of a supreme being. This was caused by anger. Do you know why I didn't collapse? Taehi said in a deep voice. Why? Because I also want face. Shinba nodded and lightly said, alright. You're a real man, take another punch from me. Hold on. Taehi hurriedly raised his hand. Are you done yet? Do you think I, a supreme being, am here to play with you? After receiving a punch from you, I'll pretend to fly backward and spit out a mouthful of blood. What's wrong? Are you going to admit your identity? Taehi was also angry. He shouted. Who do you think you are? If you have the ability, then punch the shit out of me. Alright. Apart from supreme beings, everyone else will die with this punch of mine. Taehi, what the F***ck? Do you want me to kill myself on the spot? Aren't you forcing me to admit my identity? Then he would be laughed at by everyone. At that time, that old thing, everlasting hatred, would also mock him. Brother, you're exaggerating. How is that possible? Taehi said disdainfully. Why is it impossible? However, these words were not spoken by Shinba. 2 dwarves walked out from the crowd. These 2 dwarves were naturally Yizizi and Kai Yun. The one who spoke was Kai Yun. In this world, apart from the people in the team, there is no one who can withstand a punch from me, the Flag Master. When Xianba heard this voice and saw this height, a face instantly appeared in his mind. This voice could be heard even if it was reduced to ashes. However, as this sound rang out, Tang Wei, who was not far away, said curiously, why does this sound like Kai Yun? It's indeed a bit similar. Wei Chang nodded. LV Liang naturally heard it as well. Master Mage, doesn't this sound like Kai Yun? Death Mage nodded his head. Gigi. The royal translator said, sort of. Right at this moment, Yizizi said in a low voice, don't reveal your original voice, we are currently sneaking in secretly. When the time comes, we will be discovered. Kai Yun nodded his head cautiously, then looked at the surrounding crowd. I am currently sneaking in secretly. I can beat the shit out of you with a punch. Kai Yun lowered his voice by a lot. Xianba hurriedly squeezed into the crowd. This person is not someone I can afford to offend. Seeing that a female dwarf dares to come out and shout at me, Taehi felt that she is simply tired of living. Just how much courage does she need to dare to come out and say a word? Shorty, you can beat the shit out of me with a punch? Go back and let your parents hug you. Taehi laughed loudly. He finally felt a bit better in his heart. That man just now disappeared, I finally let out a sigh of relief. I feel that the man is intentionally targeting me. Kai Yun, who was under the black mask, tensed up. This trash actually called me a shorty. What I hate the most in my entire life is people calling me a shorty. What Yi Zizi, who was at the side, hated the most was people calling her a flat-chest girl. Kai Yun slowly walked forward and stopped 10 feet away from Tai He. I will beat the shit out of you with a punch later. Kai Yun said coldly. You have already successfully attracted my attention. Tai He had just suffered grievance, and right now he was very arrogant. Thinking to himself, in any case, other people don't know that I am Tai He. Shorty, do you want me to teach you how to fight? Tai He asked with a smile of disdain. However, Kai Yun slightly raised his right fist back. The name of this punch of mine is called, Let You Die Punch. Under this punch, no one will be able to withstand it. Tai He burst into laughter in his heart. This is even more amusing than the one just now. After all, this mighty tiger fist sounds very domineering, but this let you die punch is completely comical. Shorty little sister, even if you want to beat me up, you have to get closer to me. You are standing so far away, how is it possible for you to hit me? Tai He continued to tease Kai Yun, completely unaware that he had already angered a little overlord. Kai Yun's personality was very good, and he rarely got angry. Now that he got angry, this Tai He could do it too. I can beat the shit out of you with the wind generated from my fist. Kai Yun said faintly. Wind generated from my fist? Tai He felt as if he had heard the funniest thing in the world. Using wind generated from my fist to kill an overlord. Ha ha ha. Alright, then let me see how powerful your wind generated from your fist is. You will be very satisfied. Kai Yun shouted out with a cold intent, and his right fist directly punched out. In everyone's eyes, this was just an ordinary punch. There wasn't even a bit of chi fluctuation. This girl is just here to be a joke. A cool breeze floated onto Tai He's body. Tai He looked towards Kai Yun, then suddenly laughed and said, Wow, this wind generated from my fist is so powerful. You should just go and hammer your chest with that little fist of yours. However, right after he finished speaking, Tai He felt a pain in his chest, and his eyes immediately became bloodshot. What is going on? Why does my chest feel so uncomfortable? My forelimbs became incomparably stiff. The chi within my body was actually running around crazily, and it was completely out of my control. Tai He used all of his strength to raise his head and look towards Kai Yun, but Kai Yun had already disappeared into the crowd. Gradually, Tai He felt that his entire body was bone-piercing cold, as if countless icicles had pierced into his body. The coldness that entered his body caused Tai He to be in so much pain that he wished he was dead. After a long time, everyone felt that the black-clothed man had stopped moving. Everyone was very puzzled, and one of them mustered up his courage and walked forward to take a look, and discovered that the black-clothed man seemed to have stopped moving. That black-clothed man stretched out his hand and prepared to take off his mask, but just when he touched the mask, his entire body actually turned into black particles and disappeared. However, at this moment, the clouds in the sky had already split into two. Looking at this scene, everyone went into a daze for a moment, and it was unknown who suddenly said, "Tiese, he actually ran away." End of this chapter. Chapter 11:26. Trash, he actually used this kind of illusion to escape. He only knows how to trick little girls. That's right. But this illusion is pretty good. We didn't even notice it. Yeah, he's pretty powerful, but it's a pity that he's a coward. If he's really the dean, that would be hilarious. Taiha's primordial spirit didn't even have the chance to escape. In the crowd, Xianba swallowed his saliva. That girl. He had beaten a supreme being to the ground with a single punch. Oh my god. Just how strong would she have to be? Why was this world even more terrifying than before? Suddenly he wanted to go home. This world was too dangerous. Xianba, calm your heart, don't panic. The old grandpa shouted from within Xianba's body. Xianba also wanted to stay calm, but when he saw Kai Yun instantly kill a supreme being with a single punch, how could he possibly endure it? Moreover, that punch just now didn't have any clues at all. This meant one thing. The girl had controlled her strength to the peak. It was too terrifying. It was too infuriating. Why did the heavens create such a terrifying monster? Xi and Ba believed that Taihe was really dead. Mu Hong, on the other hand, believed that Taihe had escaped with his body movement. After all, he had already lost face and there was no need for him to stay. My son-in-law did well this time. I'll give him a good compliment when I get back. The people present all felt that it was pointless. That coward made an illusion and then ran. He was really trashed to death. Taihe's soul screamed. I didn't run. I was instantly killed. All of you trash will be instantly killed. You have a pervert here, the super pervert kind. All of you have to come down and accompany me. Ha ha ha. That demon ah. There was no doubt about Kai Yun's strength. For him to be able to compare with Yi Zizi in terms of strength, his title of Flagmaster was not just for show. Unfortunately, no one was shouting 666 right now, and Kai Yun didn't even know who he had killed. If he had known that it was Taihe, he definitely wouldn't have killed him. That was because Taihe was the children's mission. He was also one of their enemies from back then. Killing him just like that was simply too merciful. Everlasting Hatred, who was standing at the back, only heard the voices. He didn't see the duel at all. There were too many people. He wished he could kill his way out. It's time for the auction of pure gold. Just as everyone was getting bored, a black-clothed man knocked on the gong and shouted. This attracted everyone's attention. Auctioning pure gold? Was he serious? How could a treasure like pure gold be auctioned off? Wasn't that a little too frivolous and careless? Qi Shuwen still did not move. This show would not end so easily. And it felt like someone had set this up. Qi Shuwen felt that it was better for him to leave first, and not continue to get involved in these muddy waters. If he got involved again, he might not be able to climb back up. Something as rare as pure gold couldn't possibly appear just like that. Qi Shuwen left without another word. Following Qi Shuwen's departure, many people chose to leave as well. Something was wrong. The people who were slightly weaker all chose to leave. It was fine to just enjoy the gathering for a while, but for the auction of the pure gold, there would be people who would die if they were to watch the show. In just a short while, half of the people actually left. The remaining half of the people were not afraid of death. Although it was only half of them, they still crowded the small workshop so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. He saw a man in black standing on the roof of a small workshop. At this time, the moonlight was gradually sprinkling down, illuminating the roof. At this moment, everyone felt that this person was extremely mysterious. Just who is it? Hey, the one above, you said that you are auctioning pure gold. Please take out the pure gold and let us have a look. The people below shouted. Although he said that it was pure gold, he should at least take out the real thing, and let everyone have a look at it. The man in black laughed lightly, appearing to be very profound. Pure gold. It is the best material for weapons in the world. It can even be used to forge rare ancient godly weapons. It is extremely rare. Who would bring such a treasure with them? Use your brains and think about it properly. Tisk. All of the men in black couldn't help but let out a tisk sound. It is actually a trash that is talking nonsense. He doesn't know anything and is still blindly making a comparison here. However, the man in black actually took out an item from his crotch. Of course I wouldn't bring all of the pure gold. I only brought this little bit. The man opened up his palm, and the dark night could be seen instantly becoming bright, and golden rays could be seen shining brightly. Wei Chang's expression froze. The aura that this material is emitting out. LV Liang's gaze sunk. This indeed looks like it. Yi Zizi and Kai Yun looked at the pure gold with curious expressions. They were also interested in this pure gold. Chang Hen's gaze revealed out crazed greed. So this is pure gold. Just based on this aura, I feel that it is going to be invincible. A weapon that is forged out of this pure gold would definitely be invincible. If one were to use pure gold to forge ancient godly weapons, that would be a complete waste. Pure gold is a material that is so rare that it makes one's hair stand on end. This kind of material is precisely used to forge legendary weapons. Hey, how did you cut the pure gold into such a small piece? Within the crowd, someone suddenly asked. The man in black said faintly, what pure gold is most afraid of is deviant flames. After finished speaking, The man in black opened up his left hand, and a red flame could be seen burning on his palm. Upon seeing the appearance of the deviant flame, everyone's face was filled with astonishment. This person is actually an overlord. Chang Hen was a bit stupefied. This person's deviant flame is so similar to my own. Both of them are red in color. If I don't look carefully, I won't be able to tell the difference at all. However, where did this overlord come from? I have never heard of him before. Could it be that he is an expert from somewhere? From the looks of it, he should be an expert from somewhere. Following the rise of the temperature of the air, everyone knew that this is really a deviant flame. May I dare to ask if you are Meridian Break Sex Overlord Chang Hen? I heard that Overlord Chang Hen's deviant flame is also of the same color. One of the men in black asked curiously. Chang Hen slightly wrinkled his brows. Could it be? Today, I am here to auction the pure gold. Don't say anything else. The man in black didn't admit nor deny, causing a lot of people to be puzzled. However, everyone somewhat believed that this man was indeed Chang Hen. In the entire Kangluo continent, only Chang Hen has a red deviant flame. Then what are you going to auction it with? Someone asked curiously. The man in black smiled and said, use your most precious thing to auction it. Tell me if I am willing, I will exchange it with you all. Everyone immediately burst into an uproar. The most precious thing. Even if it is the most precious thing, it still shouldn't be exchanged for. After all, this is pure gold. Your Excellency, my most precious thing is this ancient godly item. I wonder if I can exchange it for it? A man in black could be seen taking out a black iron mountain. Everyone immediately let out mockery. How is it possible for you to exchange for pure gold with an ancient godly item? You are truly thinking too much. The man in black said faintly. Everyone, please don't joke around. Treat this auction seriously. End of this chapter. Chapter 11:27. Then, how about I use the ancient artifact in my hand? Another black-clothed man could be seen shouting out. The jade bracelet on his wrist was emitting out a strange aura. With a single look, one could tell that it was a good item. Everyone went into an uproar. To actually take out an ancient artifact to exchange for it, what a huge sum of money. The black-clothed man took a look and shook his head. Everyone went into an uproar once again. If you don't even want an ancient artifact, what else do you want? Your Excellency, why don't you give us an example? The black-clothed man said faintly, I already said, it is your most precious thing. Everyone completely didn't understand what the black-clothed man meant. Just what is the most important thing? Time waits for no man. I have something that I can exchange with you. At this moment, LV Liang suddenly shouted out. However, she changed her voice. After all, this was a secret infiltration, and they mustn't be discovered. All of the black-clothed men looked at LV Liang. They were very curious as to what this black-clothed man was going to use to exchange for the ancient artifact. Right now, even an ancient artifact is not enough. Could it be that there is something better? Eternal hatred was thinking in his heart. Could it be that I have to use deviant fire to exchange for it? After all, deviant fire is much stronger than an ancient artifact. The black-clothed man looked towards LV Liang and asked faintly, what are you going to use to exchange for it? LV Liang said coldly, I'll use your life to exchange for it. LV Liang had just discussed with Death Mage. This thing is what his honor wants. No matter what methods we have to use, we have to obtain it. Even if we have to snatch it, we have to do it. When all of the black-clothed men heard LV Liang's words, they all became incomparably quiet. This black-clothed man sure has guts, to actually dare to say such words. Didn't you notice that this black-clothed man is an overlord? Furthermore, he even has deviant fire in his hands, and he would be able to let you experience the thrill of being burned by fire in a matter of minutes. Yi Zizi and Kai Yun felt that this black-clothed man was very cool, to actually say such pretentious words. This is a bit interesting. Wei Chang and Tang Wei were very cautious. After all, this pure gold is something that we have to obtain. And even more so, we can't let others obtain it. Snatching it was the best way. However, Wei Chang chose to bide his time and see just how strong that black-clothed man was. It wasn't that eternal hatred didn't think about snatching it, but because of his identity. However, when he thought about how he was wearing black clothes, and since no one knew who he was, so what? It seemed that he would have to fight for the pure gold. He would have to see how strong they were before deciding what to do. Haha. You want to take my life? Since I dare to stand here, I have a fearless heart. No matter what crazy ideas you have, I will take them on. The black-clothed man was very confident in himself. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said such words. With a calm expression on her face, LV Liang took a glance at Death Mage and suddenly attacked. The blue stone under his feet instantly crumbled. Everyone was shocked. This black-clothed man seemed to be very strong. LV Liang's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, she had arrived in front of the black-clothed man. Her speed was breathtaking. This black-clothed man was at least a spiritual venerable, or higher. It was no wonder that he dared to say such words. But he was a supreme venerable, and even a spiritual venerable wouldn't be able to do anything to him. The black-clothed men, whose power was relatively low, thought LV Liang was a spiritual venerable. But the eternal hatred certainly knew such a person. Although he looked like a spiritual venerable with such speed control, he was actually a supreme venerable. He didn't expect that there would be so many powerful characters in this group of black-robed men. From the looks of it, those hidden experts are here for the pure gold. Wei Chang, who was within the group of black-robed men, seemed to have smelled a familiar smell. In that instant just now, that familiar smell seems to be, Uncle Wei, we have to make a move as well. We definitely have to get our hands on the pure gold. Tang Wei said cautiously. Look at how everyone else is already making a move to snatch the pure gold. We cannot fall behind. Wei Chang suddenly laughed lightly. No need. Ah. Why? Could it be that we are not going to snatch the pure gold? Tang Wei asked puzzledly. It took us a long time to find any news about the pure gold. If we are able to find it, His Honor would definitely be very happy. Because this black-clothed man should be LV Liang. Wei Chang said indifferently. LV Liang and Yi Hong were both personally taught by Wei Chang, and the two of them would emit out their own aura. Just a moment ago, when LV Liang was circulating his energy, Wei Chang had already sensed it. I didn't expect that LV Liang would also be here. Thinking about it, it is normal. If there is news about the pure gold, LV Liang will definitely come. Seems like Death Mage should be here as well. After all, this person is actually one of us. Wei Chang looked at LV Liang. This little brother of mine has already grown up. It should be time for me to help His Honor. Is it LV Liang? Tang Wei said in a low voice. Clearly, she didn't expect this to happen. After all, everyone had split up to search for the pure gold. Let's just watch. It won't be too late to make a move if there is an accident. Wei Chang was still rather vigilant. Although he wasn't very afraid, in case someone were to launch a sneak attack on him. The pure gold was too important. They mustn't fail to obtain it. Tang Wei nodded her head. Uncle Wei is becoming more and more thorough in his considerations. Zizi, when are we going to make a move? Kai Yun's hands were already itching. This person seems to be very powerful. Yi Zizi tapped on the tip of her toes, then placed both of her hands behind her head and yawned. Let's see how the situation goes first. After all, the important characters are always the finale. That's right, there might even be experts among them. Kai Yun said happily. On top of the roof, LV Liang was currently facing off against the black-clothed man. LV Liang appeared to be very calm and not impatient. Because LV Liang was very confident, Uncle Wei had bestowed upon him power, and during these few years, he naturally didn't stagnate at all. He would train every single day, and on top of his original foundation, there were still some improvements. For example, this black-clothed man in front of him, he should be able to defeat him. It seems like you don't want to follow the rules. The black-clothed man said coldly. LV Liang stretched out his right hand. Experts don't need to follow the rules. Following LV Liang's words, the black-clothed men below began discussing spiritedly. Wow, this person sure knows how to act cool. That's right, he actually spoke out his inner thoughts. Those who like to act cool won't live for long, and sooner or later, they will die on the path of acting cool. Upon hearing LV Liang's words, the black-clothed man suddenly laughed out loudly. You! Interesting. LV Liang didn't want to speak too much nonsense and said gravely, "Hand over the gold, and you can leave. If you don't follow my rules, why should I hand it over to you?" The black-clothed man didn't seem to be afraid at all, and when he spoke, his tone carried along a natural confidence. "From the looks of it, I can only use your life to exchange for it. I'm afraid that you will be disappointed, my life. You might not be able to obtain it." It had already been a very long time since LV Liang met such an arrogant person. LV Liang decided to properly teach this person a lesson, and let him know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is. As his honor's subordinate, I definitely can't lose his honor's face. For an enemy like this, a single punch is enough. Ha! LV Liang shouted out lightly, and his duki instantly burst out. Chapter 11:28. A terrifying cyclone spread across the scene. Although the expressions of the black-clothed people could not be seen, they were sure that they were definitely very shocked. This person is so strong. Just this aura alone, he is definitely an overlord. Yi Zizi was very familiar with Wei Chang. The aura that LV Liang released had a strong smell, and this smell was Wei Chang's. But Wei Chang's was purer. So Yi Zizi dared to conclude that this person was either LV Liang or Yi Hong. So it was one of us. That's not right. Weren't they in the palace? Why did they come to this city of villains? And to snatch the gold? Did they come to complete the mission? Or to play? Yi Zizi was very curious. Wow, this person is really powerful. I want to fight with him. Kaiyan rubbed his palms together. From the aura, he could feel that this person was very powerful. However, Kaiyan was not very familiar with Wei Chang, so he did not feel this unique aura. Yi Zizi said helplessly, "Then you might be disappointed." "Oh, why? I can't fight even like this?" Kaiyan pouted. "I can't fight here, I can't fight there. When can I fight? Can I still live? Why is it so hard to be a human?" "Because he is one of us," Yi Zizi said indifferently. "One of us? How do you know he is one of us?" Kaiyan felt that Yi Zizi was lying to him. After lying to him, he could go and fight. This kind of trick has been used before, but it is useless now. I, Kaiyan, have been tricked once, and I won't be tricked a second time. This person is either Yi Hong or LV Liang. I can feel this aura, Yi Zizi said softly. If it was a little smaller, she might not be sure, but with this kind of explosion, she could definitely feel it. Kaiyan was very helpless and said disappointedly, "So it's the two of them, could it be? I'm just curious, what are they doing here?" And they took the initiative to snatch the gold. It should be his honor's order, Kaiyan estimated. Yi Zizi felt the same. Suddenly, Kaiyan said softly, "Then can we pretend that we don't know?" "You are thinking of?" Yi Zizi's eyes lit up. That's right. My bones are getting rusty from all this walking. It's good to loosen them up a bit." "That makes sense. Then we'll pretend we don't know and fight," Yi Zizi said craftily. It had been a long time since she had fought. She didn't dare to cause a ruckus in the imperial palace, but this was outside. It wasn't her territory anyway, so she wouldn't feel sad. "Haha, it's going to be fun," Kaiyan said excitedly. Right now, LV Liang was just like a deity that had descended to the mortal world. A black stream of light was emitting out from LV Liang's body, and the black stream of light was revolving around LV Liang's body, just like the special effect that appeared when leveling up equipment. He is indeed very strong. No wonder he dares to say such words. The black-clothed man could sense LV Liang's strength, but even so, he didn't seem afraid. Even the tone of his voice didn't change. However, such an expression fell into the eyes of Yi Zi, Wei Chang, and the others. After all, this kind of thing had happened before. Only when one was beaten up would one know how powerful it was. LV Liang was a little angry. This man's attitude made her very unhappy. Even if he wanted to act cool, he should know when to stop, but he still put on a calm look. "Stop pretending. I know that you are scared now," LV Liang said gravely. "Hand over the gold and I'll spare your life." The black-clothed man went into a daze for a moment, then held onto his forehead and burst into laughter. "You? Why are you so funny? Why should I be scared by you? Is it because of your strength?" Or is it because of your courage that doesn't care about your life? You. LV Liang was completely angered. This person actually dared to mock me. That is equivalent to mocking the entire team. LV Liang's expression sunk as he shouted out lightly, "I'll let you experience it then." What is called terrifying? Pegasus Meteor Fist. LV Liang's right fist exploded out with a dazzling light, directly lighting up the night sky. A terrifying aura reverberated between heaven and earth, and all the clouds in the night sky instantly dispersed. It was as if there was only LV Liang's fist in the entire world. Looking at LV Liang's appearance, Wei Chang said slowly with a gratified gaze, "I didn't expect that LV Liang had grown up." That's right, back then the two brothers brought little his honor to the bar. At that time they were still two ignorant non-mainstream people. Tang Wei seemed to have sunk into her memories. In actuality, the happiest time was still that small bar. Being able to go to and from work together with Uncle Wei, being able to eat barbecue at night, and his honor would also host a gathering from time to time. Everyone would brag and ridicule each other. It was truly quite interesting. Perhaps it was because she was a woman. Tang Wei was very touched. However, Wei Chang didn't feel the same way. In actuality, it was the same everywhere as long as there was his honor. This green and red brothers are rather formidable. Looking at LV Liang's fist, Kaiyun couldn't help but praise. Yi Zizi said with a smile, "The two of them are stronger than their strength." I heard that Yi Hong is afraid of his wife. More than afraid, he is simply like a mouse seeing a cat. Yi Zizi clicked her tongue. In the entire team, the one who was the most afraid of his wife was Yi Hong. Then between the two brothers, who is stronger? Kaiyun asked curiously. After all, they were still not familiar with each other. LV Liang should be slightly stronger. Yi Zizi gave an objective evaluation. If LV Liang were to hear it, he would definitely be very happy. After all, Yi Zizi was his honor's direct subordinate. Kaiyun decided to fight with LV Liang. Chang Hen, who was within the crowd, turned pale with fright. This black-robed man's strength is probably above mine. Just based on this fist alone, I am able to pinch someone. Just how many formidable figures did this red gold bring over? Seems like the water in the south is very deep. Perhaps I should come out and walk around and pay a visit to those hidden figures. LV Liang could feel that his strength was rising infinitely. It has been a long time since I went all out like this. This sort of feeling of being out of control is really too good. LV Liang could be seen slowly punching out. Right now, the air seemed to have been compressed, and intense explosion sounds could be heard from the surroundings. Those who were weak instantly bled from all 7 of their orifices, but they didn't die. Those who were strong could be seen bleeding from their ears. This fist is truly too terrifying. To think that even the air was compressed to the point of exploding. Die! LV Liang shouted out angrily. His gaze was merciless. However, the corner of the black-robed man's eyes slightly rose, and just like that he directly stretched out his palm, and his palm faced towards LV Liang's fist. Furthermore, there wasn't any aura fluctuation, and there was only black clothes that were frantically fluttering. Puff! A slight sound suddenly rang out. This sound was just like someone farting. It wasn't the kind of loud fart, but rather the kind of very low fart. Everyone looked at the eaves blankly. That fist was so ferocious. Why did such a result appear? Chapter 1129. Logically speaking, this punch should have been able to blast the black-clothed man into dregs. Why did this black-clothed man block it with just a raise of his hand? Furthermore, there wasn't any chaotic flow of aura. What was going on? Everyone was dumbfounded at this moment. Even Wei Chang, Yi Zizi and Death Mage were stupefied. Why was it like this? Why didn't LV Liang's punch cause any harm to him? In fact, all the power was absorbed in an instant. Who was this black-clothed man? LV Liang was now very shocked. Her confident punch was actually blocked just like that. Furthermore, he was using his palm. Furthermore, the other party had not even released his do chi. How was this possible? How did he do it? You have the capital to be arrogant, but you shouldn't be arrogant in front of me. The black-robed man said indifferently, and his palm suddenly shone with boundless light. This aura was the same as the Pegasus meteor fist just now, but it was even more majestic. The man in black pushed LV Liang's fist lightly. Everything happened in an instant, leaving no time for anyone to react. LV Liang's eyes were filled with golden light. This man had actually absorbed the punch just now and turned it into his own strength to attack. This was an attack he had never seen before because he didn't notice it at all. In an instant, LV Liang felt his right arm heat up. Wei Chang immediately disappeared from where he was, but he was still half a beat too late. A beam of golden light shot out from the black-clothed man's palm, drowning LV Liang's right arm and shooting straight into the sky. In this dark night, this long streak of golden light was as dazzling as a meteor. However, the pressure it emitted was terrifying. Fear spread in everyone's hearts. At this moment, those who could regain their senses all turned around and ran. This black-clothed man was too terrifying. Lonesome Hatred, who had come to his senses, chose to retreat immediately. Pure gold was indeed very important, but if he didn't have the life to enjoy it, it was unnecessary. Life was the most important thing. Wei Chang stopped in the air and looked at his little brother. At this moment, his right arm and right shoulder had completely disappeared. It formed a semicircle. If the attack had been on the head, if that was the case, then LV Lu would be insta-killed on the spot, and even Wei Chang would not be able to save her. LV Liang could not feel the pain at all. The real pain was on her face. He had actually been insta-killed by someone else. This is simply throwing away his honor's face. Thinking of what she had just said, LV Liang felt ashamed. In the entire team, there was no record of failure. However, just now, he had been defeated. Moreover, he had no power to fight back. This palm didn't land on his arm, but on his face. How am I going to face his honor when I return? How was he supposed to meet every member of the team? He had thrown all their faces away. At this moment, LV Liang's face was deathly pale. She was so ashamed that she wanted to die. The black-clothed man looked at LV Liang and asked curiously, "Are you sure you want to trade my life for pure gold?" Puff. LV Liang spat out a mouthful of blood. This was a blatant mockery. LV Liang's current mood was like dead ashes. Looking at her missing right shoulder, LV Liang clenched her left hand tightly. Suddenly, he slapped his own forehead. This gave Wei Chang a fright, and he shouted angrily, "What are you doing?" Wei Chang's shout shook the heavens and the earth. Even the black-clothed man revealed a surprised expression. LV Shu's left hand was grabbed tightly by Wei Chang. At this moment, Yi Zizi and Kai Yin had also appeared. Of course, Death Mage and Tang Wei were also present. Everyone looked at LV Liang. LV Liang could immediately tell that this person was Uncle Wei. Uncle Wei was actually here just now as well. LV Liang's stiff face became strange and a bit distorted. Men shed blood, but not tears. However, seeing that Uncle Wei was standing in front of him, LV Liang's tears flowed out. This is a type of guilt. I lost face for the entire team. What face do I have left to continue living in this world? What face do I have left to stand in front of his honor? I can only die to thank his honor and Uncle Wei for taking care of me. I'm sorry I've brought shame to everyone. LV Liang suddenly felt that his entire body was powerless. Death Mage immediately went to the side and supported LV Liang. Wei Chang's expression was very bad right now. My little brother was actually beaten to the point that he wanted to commit suicide. This is a great humiliation. After being in the team for so many years, when has something like this ever happened? Today can be considered as the beginning. Wei Chang turned his head and looked towards the black-clothed man. His gaze was ice-cold. For something like this to happen, I have to bear the main responsibility. Tang Wei looked at Wei Chang and felt that the current Wei Chang was very scary, just like a nuclear bomb that was about to explode. Xiao Lu, you were too careless. If you do this, his honor will be angry. Yi Zizi said gravely. Just by hearing the voice, Yi Zizi knew that it was LV Liang. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone. LV Liang was very ashamed. He really wanted to slap himself to death. At least he would feel a bit better in his heart. With an ice-cold tone, Wei Chang said, "Bring LV Liang back first." Yi Zizi originally wanted to fight against the black-clothed man, but when she felt that Wei Chang was acting strangely, she decided to give the opportunity to Wei Chang. After all, LV Liang was Wei Chang's little brother. Taking revenge for his little brother was also a normal thing. However, today one of LV Liang's arms was actually chopped off. This was not just his own matter. This was a big matter that concerned the entire team, and even his honor. If one person were to be humiliated, the entire team would be humiliated. I'll leave him to you then, don't let him escape. Yi Zizi warned. This black-clothed man must die. There is no other possibility. Before Wei Chang finished speaking, everyone else immediately left. Only Wei Chang and the black-clothed man remained in the sky. Meanwhile, the black-clothed man who was standing in the small workshop was very puzzled. The group of people seemed to know each other just now, and they were even chatting with each other for a bit. If all of them knew each other, why was there only one person left? Why didn't all of them come at me together? There aren't many people who are able to make all of the 7 deadly sins come at me together. The black-clothed man looked at the man in front of him and asked faintly, "What do you plan to use to exchange for the gold this time?" "Your life," Wei Chang said faintly. "If the little brother is unable to complete it, then I, the big brother, can only do it." The black-clothed man laughed lightly. "This again? My life isn't that easy to take. In my opinion, it is still possible for you to take it. True, you are much stronger than that person just now, but I want to tell you, I am also much stronger than him. What happened just now was just an appetizer." The black-clothed man's tone was dull, but when he said it, it carried a kind of pretentiousness. To still say that what happened just now was just an appetizer, then what is the main course? "Let's change to another place to spar," Wei Chang proposed faintly. In the past, Wei Chang didn't care about these things at all, but right now Wei Chang also cared about the casualties of commoners. "As you wish." The black-clothed man didn't cower and agreed straightforwardly. Chapter 11:30. The two disappeared into the night sky. All of the black-clothed men felt disappointed. This was going to be an ultimate battle, but they weren't going to watch it. This feeling was like having your masturbation tube cut off, that kind of disappointment and depression. LV Liang was also brought back to the inn by everyone. The Blood Tribe sisters were stunned for a moment. When they saw that their man's shoulder and arm had completely disappeared, their beautiful faces instantly paled. "Hubby, what's wrong with you?" The sisters burst into tears. Yi Zizi and the others took off their black masks, and Tang Wei let out a deep sigh. "The accident that happened tonight is really something that I am unable to digest." LV Liang didn't even have the face to face his wives. They asked him what was wrong. How should he answer? He charged forward with arrogant words, only to be killed by the enemy instead? LV Liang slowly lowered his head, not daring to meet his wife's gaze. He felt that they were so unworthy. Yi Zizi hurriedly contacted Qing Yutong. This matter was not an ordinary matter, and right now, Qing Yutong was the person with the highest position among all of them, so it was best to let Qing Yutong make the decision. Very quickly, Qing Yutong received Yi Zizi's sound transmission, and she hurriedly ran over to the tavern at this side. Of course, they came together. The whole room was filled with people. Meanwhile, LV Liang was sitting on the ground expressionlessly, and he didn't dare to raise his head. The Blood Race sisters were worriedly waiting at the side. "Big brother, what's wrong with you?" Yihong had also rushed over at this time. Seeing that her big brother's right arm and shoulder were gone, she hurriedly asked. Although it was gone, the wound was automatically healing, but it could not grow a new arm. LV Liang finally raised her head and looked towards Yihong. When she saw Yihong's concerned gaze, LV Liang was unable to face Yihong. Not only was he a sinner, he didn't even set a good example. After taking a look at everyone in the room, LV Liang slowly knelt onto the ground. "I am useless. I have brought shame to everyone, and even to his honor." Qing Yutong tightly wrinkled her eyebrows. "Aren't we going to snatch a piece of pure gold? How did things turn out like this? Why did they come to the evil men's city? What the hell happened?" Right now, Qing Yutong was completely confused, and she could only ask Tang Wei, who was at the side. Tang Wei told the whole story. It turned out that her brother-in-law needed pure gold, and everyone came out to look for it. On the other hand, LV Shu wanted to snatch the pure gold, but in the end, She was killed by someone. Qing Yutong's expression became grave, and she slowly sat on the wooden chair. LV Liang's defeat wasn't just LV Liang's fault. If brother-in-law knew about it, he would definitely be furious. Right now, Wei Chang was fighting with the black-clothed man, and Qing Yutong felt that with Wei Chang's strength he should be able to easily defeat the black-clothed man. This would be able to slightly wash away the humiliation, but with LV Liang being turned into such a state, Qing Yutong also didn't know how brother-in-law would choose. After all, this had never happened before. When one's underling was beaten to a cripple, one would definitely want to kill the entire family of the other party. In actuality, back then, Death Mage was also crippled by his honor. To be more precise, Death Mage's bones were all scattered. Wei Chang still kept this matter a secret. After all, Death Mage was summoned by his honor. However, LV Liang was different. LV Liang was his honor's little brother, and the significance of LV Liang was different. This little brother of mine was acting cool outside, and in the end he got his face slapped instead. If this matter were to spread out, where would his honor put his face? Let's wait for Uncle Wei to come back first, Tang Wei suggested in a low voice. Qing Yutong also felt that Wei Chang was right. We can only wait for Wei Chang to return before making a decision. Yi Hong had never seen her brother so depressed. Even when her brother was cuckolded, he did not look like this. From the looks of it, Big Brother has really suffered a huge blow this time. Right now, Zishan was also standing at the side silently. She wanted to make peace with Yi Hong, but there were a lot of people at the scene, and Zishan seemed to be unable to put down her face. On the contrary, I feel that the black-robed man is very powerful, Yi Zizi suddenly said while leaning on the side. Kai Yin nodded his head. He is indeed very powerful. To be able to absorb LV Liang's power and transform it into his own power to counterattack, it isn't that there aren't such methods, but to be able to do it to such a degree, it is rather difficult. The two lowly girls who mainly focused on strength started discussing. That black-robed man is probably the most powerful person that has appeared so far. To be able to instantly kill LV Liang, that kind of strength is very terrifying. I suddenly have a new understanding of this Kangluo continent, Brett said faintly. From the looks of it, I haven't completely understood this Kangluo continent in the past. Yi Zizi's gaze was also filled with excitement. I wonder how many of such powerful people there are. It would be great if there were a dozen of them. And right now, Tang Wei was worried about Uncle Wei. Just now, from what Yi Zizi said, the black-robed man seems to be very powerful, and Uncle Wei should be able to easily deal with him. On the other side, when the two of them appeared again, they were already on a swampy land. To Wei Chang, it was the same no matter where he was, because the result would not be different. Right now, there was only one thing that he had to do, and that was to kill the black-robed man in front of him. Only then would he be able to slightly wash away this bad record. The place you chose is not bad, the black-robed man said faintly. He slowly descended and stepped onto the congealed earth. However, upon closer inspection, he did not step onto the congealed earth at all, and was merely floating. Wei Chang asked faintly, "Who are you?" "Me? I am just a bored wanderer. Wherever there is liveliness, I will go there," the black-robed man said lightly, as if he was toying with Wei Chang. "Then your final destination will end here," Wei Chang said faintly. "This kind of humiliation can only be washed away with blood. There is no mercy to speak of." The black-robed man laughed lightly. "Why are you guys so confident? Are you so sure that I will die here? Or could it be that you are the same as that fellow just now, speaking without using your brain?" The black-robed man said faintly, fiercely refuting Wei Chang, and even said that Wei Chang spoke without using his brain. It had already been a long time since Wei Chang was insulted like this, and anger suddenly appeared in his heart. He was in a bad mood. "All along, I only bullied others. When has there ever been a reason for me to be bullied by others? I have always spoken with my strength," Wei Chang said gravely, then slowly raised both of his arms. Wei Chang's arms could be seen changing at a speed that was visible to the naked eye, and in a blink of an eye, they changed into two long and thick monsters. Rows of spotlessly white and sharp teeth with mucus could be seen, and when the teeth landed on the ground, green smoke could be seen. The saliva had corrosive properties. The black-robed man slightly turned his head and said unhurriedly, "So, you are not a human." "Whether I am a human or not, this is not important. What is important is..." Just when Wei Chang finished speaking, the monster with 2 arms directly attacked towards the black-robed man. The black-robed man immediately leaped backwards. Boom! A huge crater could be seen on the ground where the black-robed man was standing, and his gaze seemed to be calm, and there was no panic. Gee! Over 100 monsters sprung out from the dust that filled the sky, but they were much smaller than those monsters just now. The black-robed man's expression slightly changed. Looking from far away, it looked as if countless snakes were sprayed out, and the snakes attacked towards the figure in the sky, and the snakes even formed a huge net. "You indeed have the strength to do so," the black-robed man said faintly, no longer hiding his strength, and went all out. Chapter 1131. The black-clothed man's pupils suddenly congealed, and a cold killing intent was released in the air, causing people to feel a chill in their hearts. The dou-qi in the world gathered from all directions, forming a terrifying current, and the black-clothed man's entire body shone with a red light, making him look like a world-destroying demon god. This kind of aura directly caused the sky to change. The deafening sound of thunder rang out, piercing through the world, just like the end of the world. Wei Chang's gaze became strange. This person's ability is indeed out of my expectations. Being able to insta-kill LV Liang is indeed not a problem. But, gather! Wei Chang shouted angrily. The hundreds of pythons could be seen gathering once again, and actually fusing together, transforming into a giant python. However, different from other giant pythons, it only had a huge mouth, and those rows of sharp teeth that carried a fishy smell in its mouth. The black-clothed man's strength was completely displayed. Looking at the pythons that were surging towards him, the black-clothed man actually chose to not move. This made Wei Chang a bit puzzled, but he didn't take it to heart. Roar! The python's huge mouth closed, and the entire world seemed to have trembled for a bit. With such a bite, I reckoned that even the sky would be torn apart. Formidable! The black-clothed man said gravely. Wei Chang wasn't too surprised. This kind of opponent might be the strongest that I have ever seen. Of course, excluding Nan Wuqi from before, this person's strength. I'm afraid that the difference isn't too big. The black-clothed man could be seen doing a split. With both of his legs resisting the python's pressure, he crossed his arms and looked at Wei Chang, appearing to be very relaxed. Wei Chang laughed lowly. "You are indeed a bit stronger than what I imagined." "Just a bit? Just a bit." However, the black-clothed man's expression froze. He felt that the python's mouth seemed to be, without any time to think. The black-clothed man chose to dodge. Boom! A black light could be seen spurting out from the python's mouth, giving off a very sticky feeling, just like a black menstruation. However, the aura and pressure that it emitted made people feel fear. The battle between the two seemed to have caused the sky to change. The entire sky changed from night to light purple. It gave people a very bad feeling, as if it was foretelling death. The black-clothed man appeared at the side, turned his head and looked at his shoulder, only to see that a piece of the black clothes on his shoulder was missing, and there was even a black flame on his shoulder. He raised his head slightly and looked at Wei Chang. The man in black seemed to be angry. I immediately tore off the cloth on my shoulder. I am very clear that this black object is corrosive. Wei Chang retracted his hands and turned them into human hands. "You are the first person that is able to injure me, no monster," the black-clothed man said lightly, and the evil aura that was emitting from his body was still rising. The swamp began to boil, and countless creatures were cooked. The entire sky became even more purple, and thick bolts of lightning pierced through the clouds, creating a strange scene. Wei Chang said indifferently, "No, I will kill you later. Don't boast too early. Otherwise, you'll end up like that brat." With that, the black-clothed man disappeared into the void. Wei Chang frowned slightly and his figure flashed. Boom boom boom. The ground beneath Wei Chang's feet was smashed by a strange force. It was so deep that the bottom could not be seen. Wei Chang's expression turned grave. When did such a powerful person appear in the Kangluo continent? In the entire team, Only 7 deadly sins and Nan Wuqi could compete with such a character. As for the other members, just like LV Liang, they were instantly killed. Just as Wei Chang was pondering, a red deviant flame suddenly burst out from the bottomless pit below him. The diameter of this deviant flame had already reached 100 meters. Just like a flame that was spouted out from the ground, the flame shot towards the sky in a cylindrical shape. To be precise, the flame was preparing to devour Wei Chang. The temperature in the surrounding had already risen to the extreme, and the result of the high temperature was burning. Everything below him was ignited with raging flames, and the purple color of the sky was a perfect match for the purple color. Wei Chang understood how terrifying a deviant flame was. After all, his honor had grasped more than 10 different mysteries, and every single deviant flame had its own unique meaning. And this deviant flame in front of him. Wei Chang placed both of his hands on top of each other. Chaos Candle Spirit. At this moment, Wei Chang's arms rapidly expanded, as if they were being charged with energy. A terrifying pressure was emitted out from Wei Chang's body, and strands of black fog slowly flowed out from Wei Chang's body, forming a black net behind Wei Chang. However, this black net was not very orderly. It was like a kind of cell structure that was connected together, and it was currently devouring the Do Qi in the surroundings. Puff! A black essence shot out from Wei Chang's palm. The terrifying energy had already engulfed the surroundings, and the ground was trembling violently. It was as if the ground was unable to withstand such an attack, and was about to shatter into pieces. Cracks formed on the ground, and the ravine was so deep that the bottom couldn't be seen, and it had even started to move. At this moment, one red and one black collided fiercely. At the moment of the collision, the air seemed to have quietened down, and there was even a ringing in one's ears. However, this feeling only lasted for an instant. A terrifying pressure instantly erupted in the air, and the shockwave produced by the collision spread out like blades, and the ground was sliced apart like tofu. The ravine was becoming deeper and deeper, and it was starting to move. It was as if the plates were moving. At Wei Chang's level of strength, destroying the world was a piece of cake. Every single attack from Wei Chang was enough to make the entire Kangluo continent unable to withstand it, and right now, the continent was already showing signs of splitting apart. The air was burning, and the space was collapsing. One could see with the naked eye that cracks had appeared in the air, and it was obvious that the space was already unable to withstand such a collision. This phenomenon appeared in the entire Kangluo continent. The entire southern region could feel the power that was causing the entire world to collapse, and the ground beneath their feet was currently letting out a weak groan. When ordinary people saw this phenomenon, they all knelt down and prayed to the gods for forgiveness. And when those who had strength saw this phenomenon, fear could be seen in their eyes, but also worship could be seen in their eyes. Thinking to themselves, when will I become so powerful? And at the northern region, one could clearly see that the southern sky was suffused with purple light. Right now, Yihua was looking towards the south with his hands behind his back, thinking to himself, what is Wei Chang doing? To be so angry, don't make the entire Kangluo continent disappear. After all, this Kangluo continent isn't as simple as I thought it to be. Yihua, what is this? Qian Yuqing, who was wearing pajamas, slowly walked out. That enchanting figure of hers was something that Yihua was very fond of recently. Yihua slightly narrowed his eyes and said faintly, nothing much. After finished speaking, Yihua moved towards Qian Yuqing's butt. Yihua, Qian Yuqing immediately jumped away. Come here. Yihua said gravely. Qian Yuqing pouted her small mouth. It is clearly an ambiguous atmosphere, and you want to make it seem like you are bullying me? Looking at Qian Yuqing, who was walking over with a wronged expression, Yihua rubbed onto Qian Yuqing's head. It is time to sleep. Qian Yuqing. Chapter 1132. In an inn in Evil Men City, Yi Zizi and the others looked at the purple light in the sky, feeling this extraordinary might. Does this gluttonous monster want to destroy this place? Yi Zizi said calmly. Wei Chang was truly enraged this time. Yihong finally understood Uncle Wei's strength. Compared to Uncle Wei, she was simply a piece of trash. Now Kai Yun had lost his former childishness and had become serious. because for Wei Chang to treat him like this, the black-clothed man just now probably had a corresponding strength. But for something like this to happen, it was really hard to accept. Kai Yun's thoughts were also Brett's and Moonlight's thoughts. This time, they had encountered a tough obstacle. Qing Yutong let out a deep breath. Originally, I only came out to play around, but I actually played around with such a thing. Wei Chang had actually caused such a huge commotion, and the other party's strength. It had been so many years. This is the first time I've seen it. Within a dilapidated temple, Lai Gu and Do Fusher raised their heads and looked towards the horizon. Big brother, what's going on? Do Fusher swallowed his saliva. This aura felt like Uncle Wei. Lai Gu let out a deep sigh. Seems like Wei Chang met with a very powerful person. Do Fusher was confused. Powerful people? With so many experts in the team, was there even a need for Uncle Wei to make a move? The others would be able to handle it. How powerful? Do Fusher asked weakly. Lai Gu looked at Do Fusher and said coldly, I can kill you with a single finger. Ah. Seeing the coldness emitted from Lai Gu's gaze, Do Fusher's heart immediately became heavy. Lai Gu's mood recently wasn't very good, and it was all because of this fatty Qing Su. He had wasted all his time here. He really wanted to see what had happened to Wei Chang. At this moment, Qing Su put down the pig trotter in his hand and put his palms together. Revenge breeds revenge. Let's shake hands, we're good friends. After hearing that, Lai Gu immediately clenched his fists. Big brother, calm down. Calm down. Don't be rash. Don't stop me. I will kill him today. Just a piece of trash who only knows how to eat, drink, and poop all day long. Furthermore, he still has that sanctimonious look on his face. I feel disgusted just by looking at him. Lai Gu already couldn't take it anymore. What's the point of keeping this kind of trash in the team? Eat shit. Do Fusher immediately hugged onto Lai Gu's thigh. Big brother, you really have to calm down, you can't kill him. Mother ****. This is trash. Qing Su exhaled slowly and said, Benefactor, if you want to kill me, I will not fight back. Let me return to the embrace of Buddha. Look at him. If I don't kill him, the heavens will not tolerate it. Lai Gu's mental state had already been tortured to the extreme by Qing Su. At this moment, his face was flushed red, and he was on the verge of going berserk. Fortunately, Fusher was at the side persuading Lai Gu, allowing Lai Gu to regain a trace of clarity. Otherwise, if he really slapped Qing Su to death, he would really return to the embrace of Buddha. God said, if I don't enter hell, who will? Benefactor, do it. Mother ****. This is what the Buddha said, you idiot. Qing Su smiled and said, It's the same, it's the same. Mother ****. Lai Gu shouted out, then fiercely stomped onto the ground. This dilapidated temple was originally located at the top of the mountain, and when Lai Gu stomped down, zzz, cracks instantly appeared on the ground, spreading in all directions. Even the walls of the dilapidated temple began to crack. Big brother, you destroyed the mountain. So be it. I really want to ***King trample him to death. Lai Gu pointed at Qing Su and cursed. However, when Qing Su looked at the dilapidated temple that was on the verge of collapse, a dazed expression appeared on his face. That plump face of his was trembling. The pig trotter that was in his hand fell onto the ground, and his pair of tiny eyes became strange. Lai Gu did not notice Qing Su's strange expression and shouted out, Carry this idiot away, don't get squashed to death. Right after Lai Gu finished speaking, he felt a huge power coming from his back, and his entire body was sent flying. Fusher tightly clenched his fists, and his pair of eyes turned dark purple. His entire person looked just like a puppet. However, right now the sky was already filled with boundless purple light. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. Right now, the red deviant flame was still clashing with Wei Chang's black light. The surrounding ground was completely unable to withstand the pressure, and turned into a huge abyss, and the terrifying pressure was even contending with the sky. Thunder. Suddenly, an explosion rang out in the air. This was the voice of the black-robed man. The deviant flame that was spat out actually carried the attribute of lightning. Crackling sounds could be heard as it revolved around the deviant flame. It seemed like it was going to counterattack. Wei Chang slightly furrowed his brows. He was quite shocked by the current situation. This person actually still has the strength to counterattack. This is a bit surprising. Heaven essence. Another explosion rang out, and it reverberated throughout the world. The color of the deviant flame actually changed. From red it turned white. Wei Chang's expression instantly became serious. How is this possible? How can the color of a deviant flame change? Even his honor's color never changed. White flames bearing sky. The black-robed man shouted angrily. The entire ground suddenly stopped shaking, and everything became calm. However, this calm was the calm before the storm. Boom. In the Sea of Innocence, a seemingly endless chasm appeared, running through the north and south, and surging seawater gushed into the chasm. The sea level of the Sea of Innocence dropped rapidly, and the tremors even caused tsunamis. Even in Water City, there were earthquakes at the bottom of the sea and volcanic eruptions. At this moment, the entire Kangluo continent was suffering from all kinds of natural disasters. Ordinary people couldn't even survive. The black-robed man's strength had already exceeded Wei Chang's expectations. The terrifying white flames and lightning instantly engulfed Wei Chang's body, straight into the heavens. The entire sky was replaced by white light. It was so dazzling, so terrifying. However, at this moment, in the City of the Wicked, a chasm separated the city. This chasm even extended into the distance. The entire City of the Wicked was filled with an aura of death and anguished wails. The people living in the coastal areas suffered the most. This time, the tsunami was different from the previous one. This time it was a full-scale tsunami. The tsunami was as long as the Sea of Innocence was. This time, even the north wasn't spared. The entire Kangluo continent was currently immersed in the fear of death. When the people saw this phenomenon, they could only kneel down and beg for mercy. However, the merciless disaster still struck mercilessly. Compared to the north of the Kangluo continent, the south suffered even more severe damage. If in the past, Nan Nan's face was a handsome face, then right now, that face was filled with countless cracks. The two people who were engrossed in the battle probably didn't expect this kind of outcome. A black figure floated in the air. His face looked slightly tired, but he gave off the impression that he could still fight. Chapter 1133. Oh, not dead yet. The black-clothed man said faintly, but his eyes were filled with surprise. How powerful was Wei Chang? As one of the 7 sins, destroying the world was nothing difficult, and just now, he even used the strength of his body to forcefully resist the attack. But the current Wei Chang, under this attack, revealed his true form. The huge head did not have any facial features, only a terrifying big mouth with a row of fangs that looked eerie and terrifying, as if it could devour everything in the world. Countless tiny tentacles supported the huge head, and at the bottom of the tentacles, there were tiny heads that let out tiny screeches. The black-clothed man was very astonished. From that pair of eyes, it could be seen that this kind of monster. Just what the hell is this? He remembered that before, Wei Chang had also revealed his true form, but that was only for fun. But this time was different. He was forced to reveal his true form. There was a difference between the two. For this black-clothed man to be able to force Wei Chang to reveal his true form, this was already a kind of achievement. Even if he died, that was also a symbol of glory. You are actually completely unharmed. The black-clothed man felt that it was inconceivable. This monster was indeed very strong, but under my attack, he actually only revealed his true form. How is this possible? This is illogical, Wei Chang said coldly. To be able to force my true form out, you can already be considered as a character. The big black net behind Wei Chang slowly merged into Wei Chang's body, and waves of surging power were continuously being transferred into Wei Chang's body. Feeling this wave of pure power, Wei Chang's body also gradually became bigger. The current Wei Chang caused the black-clothed man to feel fear. This fear came from the bottom of his heart. When all of the power was absorbed, Wei Chang's body already reached 3,000 meters. Those tiny tentacles were no longer tiny. The heads at the bottom of the tentacles were fiercely biting the ground. If Tang Wei saw Wei Chang like this, she would definitely faint from fright. The handsome Uncle Wei actually had such a terrifying side to him. Just what kind of monster are you? The black-clothed man stabilized his temperament and asked gravely. Wei Chang said indifferently, read more books, and you will know. In your next life, remember. Arrogant. In this world, you can't win just by being big. The black-clothed man's face sunk, and he quickly formed seals with his hands. At the same time that he formed the seals, a surging and terrifying pressure pressed towards Wei Chang. But Wei Chang did not react at all. Demon Slayer Violet Flame. The black-clothed man suddenly put his palms together, emitting an earth-shattering sound. The purple light in the sky slowly descended. This was a god-destroying aura, and the savage pressure once again crushed the ground. Wei Chang's huge body resisted the pressure from the sky. This was also something that the black-clothed man had long prepared. Ever since he knew that Wei Chang was a monster, he had been preparing for this. This was also a precaution. He had originally thought that it was unnecessary. But from the looks of it now, it wasn't unnecessary. Fortunately, he had kept such a card up his sleeve. Purple light gathered, layer upon layer, tens of thousands of illusions, vast like the waves of the sea. There was even a suffocating terror mixed within. Landslides and tsunamis. It was just like the scene of doomsday. Wei Chang's huge body stood between the heavens and earth, not moving at all. What are you laughing at? Wei Chang asked softly. You think you can win? The man in black didn't feel very good. Originally, I wanted to fight with you with my normal body, but from the looks of it now, forget it. I'm not going to pretend anymore. The difference between me and you. Before Wei Chang could finish his sentence, the tentacle below his head suddenly turned upwards. It opened up its huge mouth. At this moment, the purple light wasn't something that could destroy the heavens and earth. It was more like a child that couldn't be defeated. Even if it wanted to run away, it couldn't. All of it was absorbed by Wei Chang. This chi of heaven and earth is indeed excellent. Yi Hua stretched out his two tongues and lightly licked his sharp teeth. He felt that his entire body was filled with strength. The black-clothed man looked at Wei Chang and suddenly laughed out loud. Good. 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 The three good immediately caused a commotion. That straightforward voice made it seem as if he, the black-clothed man, had won the battle. Say it. How do you want to die? Wei Chang asked gravely. It was also the first time that he used it to become so huge. Firstly, the opportunity was hard to come by, and I wanted to test it out. Secondly, to intimidate the opponent. After all, LV Liang had lost face, and as the big brother, I still have to regain face. The black-clothed man didn't choose to run away. He actually tore off his black mask, revealing an extremely ordinary face, but in the middle of his eyebrows, there was a black mark in the shape of a W. To be able to fight with such a strong opponent today, I will also die a worthy death. Happy. Delightful. The black-clothed man hammered his chest and shouted. From the depths of his eyes, one could indeed feel that he was truly happy. Wei Chang looked at the man in front of him with doubt. Very few people would be able to face things so calmly. And he was actually able to do so. How do you want to die? Wei Chang asked coldly. Today this person is definitely going to die. The black-clothed man licked his dry lips. There are many ways to die. Are you able to grant me that kind of way to die? One of Wei Chang's tentacles could be seen slowly flying towards the black-clothed man. In front of the black-clothed man, that creepy head seemed to be incomparably huge, and the mucus on the teeth also made one feel disgusted. The winner is the king, the loser is the bandit. The black-clothed man seemed to have accepted his fate as he slowly closed his eyes. There was basically no sign of struggling at all. In front of such a strong opponent, struggling was useless. Wei Chang naturally wouldn't let the black-clothed man off. Without any hesitation, he swallowed the black-clothed man. However, after swallowing the black-clothed man, Wei Chang heard the black-clothed man's dying words. I'm finally free. This caused Wei Chang to be puzzled. Free? To him, death is a release? Was he begging for death just now? Shouldn't he be begging for death when facing a strong opponent? Wei Chang suddenly thought of something. His expression changed greatly, and that tentacle immediately began wriggling, as if it was vomiting. That's right, Wei Chang is going to vomit this person out. However, right at this moment, Wei Chang felt as if his brain was being struck by an electric drill. This kind of pain was something that even Wei Chang was unable to endure, and his enormous body actually collapsed onto the ground, bringing up a huge amount of dust. And on Wei Chang's head, a mark similarly appeared. The purple light in the sky had already disappeared, and the darkness enveloped the earth once again, as if nothing had happened. Right now, the dilapidated temple had already collapsed, and a part of the mountain had also shattered. Dou Fusher could be seen carrying Qing Su's enormous body, while Qing Su was looking at his dilapidated temple blankly. Qing Su's expression was already extremely sinister. Just a moment ago, Lai Gu was sneak attacked by Dou Fusher, and after smashing through a few mountains, Lai Gu immediately turned back. To Lai Gu, this kind of collision was basically nothing. To be more precise, Dou Fusher's attack was nothing to Lai Gu. Dou Fusher. Lai Gu pointed at Dou Fusher and shouted out. Chapter 1134. O underscore 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 O choking with sobs. Novel, however, when Lai Gu saw Dou Fusher's eyes, he suddenly thought of something. In the past, Qing Su had also used this technique to control humans. This could be seen from Dou Fusher's eyes. You. Lai Gu pointed at Qing Su and asked gravely. Lowly human. You actually dare to destroy my sacred ground. Qing Su suddenly looked towards Lai Gu, and his tone was filled with dense killing intent. Lai Gu hurriedly explained. It's me, Lai Gu. Don't you recognize me? Buddha will never forgive you. F*******. Lai Gu cursed in a low voice. Are you crazy? Even if you're sick, can't you cure yourself? Thinking to hear, Lai Gu suddenly sobered up. This Qing Su. He was indeed sick. This guy must have used him as an experiment, and in the end, he couldn't come back. This idiot. That must be it. Damn it. Qing Su said coldly. Lai Gu slowly retreated. This Qing Su is a rather special existence in the entire team. No one wanted to fight with Qing Su, because he only knew how to use sneak attacks. What was the point of fighting with him? Was there something wrong with him? Qing Su. Your Honor. Could it be that you don't even want to listen to His Honor's words? Lai Gu shouted out explosively, hoping to make Qing Su calm down. His Honor, my ass, go and die. Qing Su didn't recognize anyone at all. Lai Gu hated this kind of situation the most, because this Qing Su only knows how to shout, and doesn't know how to make a move. It seems like he can shout someone to death. If it was someone else, Lai Gu might not believe it. However, this was Qing Su. Therefore, Lai Gu instantly disappeared from his original spot and ran away. However, Qing Su didn't chase after Qing Su. Instead, he looked at his broken-down temple and went into a daze. Also, Dou Fusher, who was being ridden, was also the same. Lai Gu naturally ran back to Voidless Empire. I must definitely report this matter to His Honor. That idiot Qing Su had played himself into a corner. In the past, he often played like this. This time he would definitely play bigger. With Qing Su's strength, no one would be able to get close to him. Lai Gu hurriedly ran towards His Honor's bedroom. It's extremely urgent. However, Lai Gu, who was in the midst of running, suddenly stopped for a bit. His entire body trembled for a bit, and then fell onto the stairs. Lai Gu held onto his chest, feeling very uncomfortable, as if, I'm going to reveal my true form. I must have definitely been poisoned just now. That damn Qing Su, every time I fight with him, he would always use this poison. Are you King sick? Lai Gu wanted to use teleportation, but his entire body froze, looking towards His Honor's wife's bedroom. I can't transform here. If not, His Honor. Your Honor, save me. Lai Gu shouted out in his heart. Right now, I don't even need to use sound transmission anymore. Just now, I shouldn't have run straight back here. I should have run to another place and see if I am poisoned or not. Lai Gu's hands had already transformed into dragon claws, and the sturdy ground was like tofu being scratched apart. Lai Gu was no longer able to control the aura within his body. Roar. A dragon roar resounded throughout the entire Wushu Empire. Right now, Yihua was currently ravishing Qian Yuqing, who was beneath him, but when he heard that dragon roar, Yihua's expression changed greatly. This was the sound of Lai Gu wailing in grief. Yihua instantly disappeared from Qian Yuqing's stomach. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji naturally sensed it as well. This surging aura actually appeared within the imperial palace. Qingye's body immediately disappeared from the bed. Of course, when Zhu Tian, who was currently doing an experiment, heard Lai Gu's scream, he immediately stopped what he was doing. Yi Juetian and Gong Yu also sensed it and hurriedly ran over. Right after Yihua appeared, people started appearing beside him one after another. Looking at Lai Gu, who was lying on the ground, the dragon claws on his hands had already appeared. There was only one word in Yihua's mind. It's over. Zhu Tian's head was also starting to feel dizzy. This Lai Gu seems to have been poisoned. Wasn't he at Qing Su's side watching over Lai Gu? Why did he get poisoned? Could it be Qing Su? Lai Gu, what happened to you? Qingye hurriedly walked forward. Yihua shouted out gravely, "Come back." A green light immediately shot out from Lai Gu's hands. God bless me. It's best if I can suppress it. Donghuang Baiji looked at Lai Gu, who was in pain, and especially that pair of bone claws. Donghuang Baiji tightly wrinkled her brows. Your Honor, I can't hold on anymore. After Lai Gu finished his last sentence, his entire body began distorting. Roar. A dragon roar once again erupted out from Lai Gu's throat, and his entire body immediately revealed his original form. A gigantic bone dragon appeared in front of everyone's eyes. At this moment, Qian Yuqing rushed over and covered her small mouth. It's you? Donghuang Baiji said coldly. Of course, Donghuang Baiji still remembered what happened back then. A bone dragon and a black mist figure. They joined hands with Ying family to attack Voidless Realm. How many people from Voidless Realm were killed by them? Furthermore, I even got injured by them. I won't forget about it in my entire life. However, today, this bone dragon actually appeared in front of me. What was even more unbelievable was that it was actually Lai Gu. Yi Juetian and Gong Yu looked at Lai Gu blankly. This is actually an undead dragon. Oh my god. It is actually Big Brother's subordinate. Right now, Gong Yu was truly rejoicing. This is what it means to be strong. Right now, Zhu Tian no longer had any thoughts. The matter has already been exposed, and now, it all depends on how His Honor is going to coax his wife. However, this matter is not something that can be solved by coaxing. Back then, that was a real massacre. Both Voidless Realm and Ying family's people died. Back then, your wife loved her people as if they were her own children. Right now, knowing that the man she loved the most sent people to kill her own people just to put on a show. Your Honor, this time, you are really dead. Right now Yihua could already feel it. Although Yihua didn't turn his head around to look at Donghuang Baiji, he could still guess that Donghuang Baiji was looking at him with a questioning gaze. Even Qingye was looking at him with a look of disbelief on her face. Lai Gu, who was flying in the air, slowly landed on the ground. This type of poison is actually a poison that takes the form of a poison, and by itself, it doesn't cause any harm. However, there is no antidote for this poison, which means that the poison will remain the same. Lai Gu lied down and leaned against the wall with a wronged expression. Your Honor, I also didn't know that I would be poisoned. If I knew that I would be poisoned, I definitely wouldn't have come back. Yihua was a bit afraid to look at Donghuang Baiji. When his lie was exposed, what was left behind was only pain. However, he had no choice but to face it. Yihua took a deep breath, then slowly turned his body around and looked towards Donghuang Baiji. Right now, Donghuang Baiji's complexion had become pale, and her complexion had lost its usual color. However, Donghuang Baiji's hand was mercilessly slapped away by Donghuang Baiji. Don't touch me. Yi Juetian and Gong Yu didn't know that their sister-in-law would become like this, and even Qian Yuqing had a puzzled look on her face. Could it be that it is because of the appearance of the undead? Baiji, listen to my explanation. Yihua said hurriedly. However, what he said was also a disguised admission. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. No advertisement. Chapter 1135. Donghuang Baiji looked at Yihua blankly, and 2 streams of tears flowed down along her cheeks. I don't want to see you. After finished speaking, Dong Huang Baiji disappeared from the spot. After hearing that, Yihua slowly closed his eyes and lowered his hands. I knew this matter couldn't be covered up. They would find out sooner or later, but it had already been a few years. Furthermore, you are still so angry. Back then, didn't I do it for you all? If not, why would I do all those things? Yihua then looked towards Qingya, seemingly saying, Qingya, you are the most sensible one. Can you understand me? Yihua, you really disappoint me. Qingya said gravely, then disappeared from the spot as well. I knew that Yihua would do things by hook or by crook, but I didn't expect that. He would even kill his own people. Qian Yuqing, who was at the side, was confused. What was going on? Why did Qingya and Donghuang Baiji become like this? Yihua gave Qian Yuqing a meaningful glance. Qian Yuqing understood what Yihua meant and disappeared from where she was. Qian Yuqing went to stabilize Qingya and Donghuang Baiji. Your Honor. Zhu Tian greeted respectfully. Yihua stretched out his hand and signaled for him to stop talking. Go back and continue your research. Yihua said gravely. Recently, unlucky things have been appearing one after another, and they completely did not allow me to be in a good mood at all. Having no other choice, Absolute Heaven could only nod his head and retreat. Big brother. You all can go back and rest. Yihua said faintly. Very vexed. Not just a normal kind of vexed. Gong Yu tugged on the corner of Yi Juetian's clothes. Your big brother is currently in a very violent mood, so don't provoke him. Of course Yi Juetian knew. Then I'll go back and rest first. If big brother has any instructions, just call me. Yihua waved his hand, and Yi Juetian and Gong Yu left. In an instant, only Yihua was left at the scene. Looking at Lai Gu, who was shivering at the side, Yihua walked over and questioned gravely. What's going on? Your Honor, I have been poisoned by Qing Su. Lai Gu was very apologetic. Just now it was all my mistake, allowing the 2 madams to know about the scam back then in advance. Qing Su's poison? Isn't he an idiot? Yihua was very puzzled. Lai Gu's enormous body moved a bit, and accidentally caused the surrounding wall to collapse. Right now, Lai Gu felt as if he was squatting like a puppy. A bone dragon squatting like this was very comical. Your Honor, I came back in a hurry to report this matter. That's why I forgot that I was poisoned. Start from the beginning and focus on the main points. Lai Gu told Yihua about his conjecture in full detail, and after Yihua listened to it, he cursed out loudly, idiot. Because Lai Gu's conjecture wasn't without reason. That idiot always liked to experiment on his own. He didn't know what he was playing with this time, but he had messed himself up. But what was undeniable was that Qing Su's strength had returned, and he was able to control Great Floating World. This was even more troublesome. Your Honor, it is subordinates' dereliction of duty to let your wives know about what happened back then. Lai Gu said apologetically. He truly felt very apologetic. Yihua let out a light sigh. Forget about this matter. They will find out about it sooner or later. It's just that it is brought forward. Then, Your Honor, let's go and capture Qing Su together. If I don't have the antidote, I will continue to maintain my current appearance. Right now, Lai Gu was already not used to being in his real body. How good is it to be a human? I can have sex with my wife every night. But now that he had become like this, how could he slap? He didn't even have tools. Lai Gu lowered his head and took a look. This tool seems to be here, but the size is not suitable. Yihua had no choice. This Qing Su problem still has to be solved, after all. I have already kidnapped Great Floating World. Now that Great Floating World knows how to use poison, it is only a matter of time before Great Floating World's memory recovers. Yihua and Lai Gu immediately disappeared from the spot, and arrived at the sky above the dilapidated temple. A huge bone dragon was flapping its wings in the sky, while Yihua was standing on top of Lai Gu's head, and looking down at the entire ground. Your Honor, he seems to have run away. Lai Gu said angrily. Yihua hurriedly searched for Qing Su's aura, and his brows slightly wrinkled. This idiot actually erased his aura. Then I will use Great Floating World's aura. The result is still the same. My 2 subordinates have run away. Your Honor. Don't speak, I am very annoyed right now. Yi Hua said coldly while holding onto his forehead. Qing Su was here to save my mother. But now he disappeared. Where am I supposed to find him? I can't find him at all. Bastard. And he even kidnapped Great Floating World. This Qing Su's guts are truly getting bigger and bigger. Your Honor, how about we call Wei Chang back? Lai Gu suggested. One more person, one more head. Yi Hua felt that Lai Gu's suggestion was not bad. Wei Chang's brain is still useful. Hurry up and contact Wei Chang. However, an unimaginable thing happened immediately. I can't contact him anymore. This caused Yi Hua's gaze to become ice-cold. Since Wei Chang's aura, he disappeared as well. Didn't that fellow fight just now? Could it be that he lost the fight? He was exterminated. How is this possible? I know of Wei Chang's strength, and only I am able to defeat Wei Chang. Who else is able to defeat Wei Chang? With so many unforeseen events happening in a single night, Yi Hua was already extremely annoyed. The whereabouts of 2 of the 7 sins are unknown, and one of them is Wei Chang, and that idiot Qing Su. There is also that idiot Do Floating World. There is also that poison Lai Gu. My secret was discovered by my wife as well. My mother's illness, my little brother's matter. Why did so many troubles appear all of a sudden? I no longer want to use my brain to solve these problems. Seems like sometimes, I still have to rely on force to solve problems. Wei Chang disappeared. What? Your Honor, why did Wei Chang disappear? Lai Gu cried out in shock. There is definitely no problem with Wei Chang's loyalty. Could it be that Wei Chang was exterminated during the fight just now? How is this possible? Yi Hua didn't explain much and directly brought Lai Gu to the scene of the incident. The scene of the incident could be said to be a huge empty crater, and the smell of scorched earth pervaded the air. And on the ground, there was a huge and abnormal crater. Lai Gu hovered in the air and looked at the imprint. Your Honor, this seems to be Wei Chang's original form. Yes, Wei Chang was actually forced to reveal his original form, Yi Hua said gravely, and he couldn't sense any aura of life in the surroundings at all. Lai Gu was very shocked. This age, there is still someone who is able to force Wei Chang's original form out? This is completely impossible. Who has such great ability? Your Honor, what should we do now? Lai Gu asked worriedly. Yi Hua took a deep breath, then took out a stick of cigarette and placed it in his mouth. Gather everyone. Yi Hua contacted Qing Yutang and even all of his subordinates. The current situation had become very strange. Yi Hua felt that there was someone who was targeting him. I felt it when my mother was poisoned. That idiot emperor has such great ability? No, that's in existence. There is someone else. Very quickly, Qing Yutang and the others received Yi Hua's order, and all of them disappeared from the tavern in the Evil Man City. Only Yang Haotian and Ren Yao were still in the tavern. After all, the 2 of them weren't members of the group, and didn't have the qualifications to participate in this kind of meeting. End of this chapter. Chapter 1136. Subordinate pays respect to your honor. 10,000 blessings equal to heaven. The subordinates knelt down and shouted out. Qing Yutang stood behind Yi Hua. No matter what, she is still a wife. There is no need for her to salute. Everyone get up. Yi Hua said gravely. Everyone looked at Lai Gu, who was at the side, and felt very confused. Why did he come out with his real body? Is he trying to show off? Is he trying to show off? Especially Lai Gu's 4 wives. They were all confused. With Lai Gu's current appearance, I can only ride him. Right now, Lai Gu felt extremely awkward. However, everyone discovered that there seemed to be a few people missing. Where did Wei Chang and Do Fusher go? Li Hun looked around in confusion. Where did my little Do Fusher go? Tang Wei was the same as well. Where did Uncle Wei go? Yi Hua took a glance at the surroundings and said gravely. Tonight, a lot of things happened. I want to know why Wei Chang suddenly got into a fight for no reason. Tang Wei, you tell him. Tang Wei had a bad premonition and walked out of the group. Reporting to your honor, tonight's matter is like this. Tang Wei recounted everything that had happened in full detail. Yi Hua finally understood. So it was because of gold. That black-clothed man is not simple. He was actually able to instantly kill LV Liang. But he didn't directly kill LV Liang. The feeling he gave off was a bit like a plot. Your Honor, subordinate is incompetent, Your Honor, please punish me. LV Liang immediately knelt down and admitted her mistake. For something like this to happen, it is such a loss of face. I have thrown His Honor's face all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Right now, Yihua didn't even have the mood to care about such a matter. There are a few things that I need to say. Seeing that His Honor's expression was so bad, everyone didn't dare to say anything. Do Fusher was kidnapped by Qing Su. He has already disappeared. Yihua said the first thing that he wanted to say. Li Hun, who was in the group, went into a daze and immediately fainted. Zishan, who was at the side, hurriedly held on to Li Hun. Li Hun also heard about Qing Su's matter. That fellow used me as an experiment. If Do Fusher was kidnapped, I will definitely be used as a guinea pig. I will become a widow. Li Hun felt heartache. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have bullied little Do Fusher. Little Do Fusher is so cute and loves me so much. Yihua let out a breath and continued. Lai Gu was inflicted with Qing Su's poison, and for the time being, he is unable to regain his human form. Yi Zizi said vigilantly, Your Honor, since Lai Gu is unable to revert back to his human form, it's best for him not to return back to Lai Gu's human form, in case your wife sees him. It's too late. Yihua said faintly. The expressions of Lai Gu's subordinates sunk, and they immediately looked towards Lai Gu. How can you be so careless? Your wife actually saw it. Lai Gu felt very ashamed, and his huge dragon had looked towards the side where there was no one. One more thing. Wei Chang has gone missing. Yihua said coldly. Wei Chang's matter could be said to be a big matter. Right now there is no corpse of Wei Chang. He should not be dead, but he is missing. Everyone took a deep breath. Meanwhile, Tang Wei also immediately fainted. The powerful Uncle Wei actually went missing. Why is it like this? In just one night, 2 of the 7 deadly sins went missing. To the entire team, that was a grievous news. Qing Yutong didn't expect that such a thing would happen, and right now, she was completely clueless about what to do. Furthermore, brother-in-law's evil deeds were also discovered by Big Sister. Misfortunes never come alone. Misfortunes never come alone. I now announce. Activate Level 1 alert. Everyone's mission will be cancelled. Go back and discuss how to deal with the situation. Right now, Yihua couldn't care less about the gold and the legendary weapon. Wei Chang and Qing Su must be found. Especially Wei Chang. Just what exactly happened to him? Brother-in-law, this time, I came out to find a person. Qing Yutong, who was standing at the side, said lightly. Yihua asked faintly, who? A guardian. Hearing that, Yihua's brows wrinkled, then said, bring him back. And that Big Sister and Big Sister Baiji, how are they now? Qing Yutong asked concernedly. Yihua let out a sigh. If Qing Ya and Donghuang Baiji were as sensible as Qing Yutong and Qian Yuqing, I would be able to relax a bit. Right after he finished thinking, Qian Yuqing's voice rang out in his mind. Yihua, quickly come back. Qing Ya and Baiji are going to run away from home. Yihua. Running away from home again. Can't these 2 women change to something else? Why do they keep running away from home every single time? How old are they already? Can't they be a bit less childish and a bit more mature? I am truly convinced. Yihua immediately disappeared into the void. And right now, Qing Yutong's subordinates could only return back to the inn and prepare to think of a way to deal with the unknown evil power. However, Qing Yutong still had to make a trip back to the inn and bring Ren Yao back. After all, brother-in-law needed to know about the news of the guardian. Back at the inn. Big sister. Why did you come back by yourself? Where are the other big sisters? Young Haotian hurriedly asked. The main thing he wanted to ask was where Yi Zizi went. Where did my red packet go? Right now, Qing Yutong didn't have the mood to talk about anything else. She looked towards Ren Yao and said, let's go. Ren Yao had no other choice but to obediently listen to Qing Yutong. What about me, big sister, what about me? Young Haotian revealed out a fawning smile. At the very least, bring me along with me, Young Haotian. Big sisters won't be bored. How should I put it? I, Young Haotian, am also everyone's happy fruit. Qin Yutong walked in front of Yang Haoyan and patted onto Yang Haoyan's shoulder. Take care of yourself in the future, after all. Everything isn't easy. Big sister, don't scare me. We have all walked together. Yang Haoyan squeezed out a smile. Why did they break up just like that? I didn't have any mental preparation at all. Yang Haoyan, I know what you want, but is it really important? Without the help of the system, are you Yang Haoyan just a trash? That's not the case. There are a lot of experts in this world. Could it be that they have some kind of help? Cultivation depends on the individual. Qin Yutong said gravely. I feel that I have become more mature, to the point that I can even use the tone of my brother-in-law to guide others. This is not good news. I, Qin Yutong, will always be 18 years old. I don't want to become a mature old woman. No, after hearing what Qin Yutong said, Yang Haoyan looked at Qin Yutong blankly. He knew that Qin Yutong and Ren Yao had disappeared from his sight. Yang Haoyan sat on the ground blankly. How did she know that I have the system? Mumbled. Big sister, without the system, I am really trash. On the other side, Yihua hurriedly arrived at the bedroom. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji could be seen packing up big and small bags. And while they were packing up, they were crying and even scolding me. With my bad temper, if not for what happened back then, I wouldn't have allowed you two to be so arrogant. That's impossible. What are you all doing? Yihua shouted gravely. He didn't have any attitude of admitting his mistake at all. As if it was Qingya and Donghuang Baiji who did something wrong. Qian Yuqing stood at the side. She seemed to be very hesitant after hearing Baiji's words. End of this chapter. Chapter 1137. I didn't expect that Yihua would actually join hands with another person and kill his wife's people. Afterward, he even descended with a righteous look on his face. Why would Yihua do such a thing? This time, the victim was Donghuang Baiji. When I thought about how Yihua was still pretending to be dead at that time, and how he was definitely laughing at me and Baiji, I fell for his trick. And I was even moved to the point that I was in a complete mess. When she thought of this matter, she felt that she was just like a fool, being toyed with by Yihua. Yihua, back then, when Ying family came to attack my voidless realm, was it your plan? Donghuang Baiji was truly unable to take it anymore as she pointed at Yihua and asked. Yihua knew that he wouldn't be able to hide the truth anymore, thus he said gravely, back then, Ying family wanted to attack voidless realm. I'm only letting Lai Gu and Wei Chang go. I'm going to put on a show for you. Qingya shouted out. So everything that happened back then was all fake. Yihua is so powerful. How is it possible for him to be beaten to a pulp by that black mist figure? I clearly felt that everything that happened back then was all fake, but it turned out that everything that happened back then was all fake. Everything was all fake. It was all an act. Right now, Yihua was also angered as he shouted out angrily. Wasn't the reason why I did that for you all? You run away from home so easily. What can I do? Donghuang Baiji suddenly laughed. You are still blaming me and Qingya? Yihua, touch your heart and tell me, how did Qingya and I treat you? When have we ever disobeyed you? Whatever you say, we will listen. We are women. We also need your respect. But you, have you given us any respect? I really didn't expect that you, Yihua, would even want to kill my people. Hearing Donghuang Baiji's words, Yihua felt that seemed to have that kind of meaning. But no matter what, I am still good to you all. I don't want much from you all. I just want you all to be obedient. What's wrong with that? Baiji, that was something that happened a few years ago. I was indeed at fault in this matter, but I also had my own difficulties. Could it be that you are not at fault as well? Yihua shouted out gravely. I, the Supreme Overlord, can take 70% of the blame for that matter, but the two of you should take 30% of the blame as well. If you hadn't run away from home, that wouldn't have happened. You still refused to admit your mistakes, and after admitting your mistakes, you still refused to change. Yihua, why are you always like this? Qingya said angrily. After so many years, you really haven't changed at all. You are still so self-centered, it feels like everyone has to revolve around you, right? Yihua's gaze turned cold, and he immediately shouted out angrily. What did I do wrong? This is the decision made by me. It's all for the team. Perhaps it was because he was too agitated. Yihua's anger instantly erupted. Qian Yuqing quickly left to find her mother. Otherwise, things would definitely fall apart. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were not like Qian Yuqing, who had the mindset of an ancient woman. They had the mindset of a modern woman. Yes, you're the boss. We are all your accessories. An item that allowed you to show off your strength. Seeing that Yihua still had the face to throw a tantrum, Donghuang Baiji became even angrier. Donghuang Baiji. Yihua shouted out coldly, then instantly arrived before Donghuang Baiji and raised his palm. Donghuang Baiji was stupefied, and tears flowed down from her eyes. You want to hit me? What did I do wrong? Go ahead and hit me, just beat me to death today. Qingye came back to her senses and immediately pushed Yihua to the side, then hugged onto Donghuang Baiji and consoled. Yihua, are you still a human? We abandoned our lives in the other world to follow you, and this is how you treat us. Yes, I am not a human. Alright then. Scram. Get the F***ck out of here. Yihua's anger rose once again. I am just a skeleton. What's wrong? I shouldn't have been a human back then. Ridiculous to the extreme. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji went into a daze for a moment. Then their expressions became firm. Alright. We will scram. You can forget about seeing the children forever. You dare. I dare you to bring the children around. Yihua's mood during this period of time wasn't very good. Luckily, Qian Yuqing was there to comfort him. However, tonight, Yihua was already extremely agitated. His subordinates going missing and all sorts of problems added together had already formed a huge amount of pressure. However, at this time, when the two women came to anger him again, he was completely unable to control his emotions. Qingye's temper also came. What's wrong, Yihua? I will explain it to you today. We are definitely going to bring the children away. If you have the ability, go ahead and kill us right now. Qingye. Donghuang Baiji. Yihua's expression was already distorted to the extreme. This kind of malevolence was something that Qingye and Donghuang Baiji had never seen before. His pair of tiger eyes were already flickering with red light. To the current Yihua, losing his rationality was an extremely easy thing to do. Looking at Yihua's expression, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji felt incomparably heartache. You are clearly the one who did the wrong thing. Not only did you not admit your mistake, you are even twisting words and forcing logic, and right now, you even want to kill us. Are you even a man? What's wrong? What's wrong? Why did you start quarreling? At this time, Lu Jing's voice rang out from outside the door, and Qian Yuqing walked in while supporting Lu Jing. Hearing his mother's voice, Yihua's expression eased up a bit, but it was evident that he was still extremely angry. On the way here, Lu Jing also heard what Qian Yuqing said. In summary, her son did something bad in the past and hid it from his daughter-in-law. Now that his daughter-in-law found out about it, she got angry. It was just that simple. When Qingye and Donghuang Baiji saw that their mother had arrived, they couldn't control themselves anymore and pounced into Lu Jing's embrace and cried bitterly. Your son is bullying others. We are all parents who already have children. It is unavoidable for us to quarrel with each other. However, don't let it get to your head. Make peace the most important thing. Don't you agree, Yihua? Lu Jing asked while looking at her son. Lu Jing didn't have any intention of blaming Yihua. After all, both sides are at fault, which is why such a misunderstanding was created. Yihua remained silent. You want me, the Supreme Overlord, to admit my mistake? Impossible. Mother, I still have something that I need to deal with. Yihua said gravely, then directly walked out of the bedroom. He didn't even bother to coax his mother. Just looking at her makes me feel annoyed. I, the Supreme Overlord, am already in a bad mood, and you still dare to come and make me feel annoyed. Seeing that Yihua actually left, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji cried even more fiercely. I really want to harden my heart and bring the children back to the bedroom, and no longer care about this overbearing and cold man. If Lu Jing didn't come just now, Qingye and Donghuang Baiji would have gotten to their heads. After all, when a person gets to their head, they wouldn't care about the consequences. I'm sorry, this son of mine, I am unable to teach him properly. It is all my fault as a mother. Lu Jing was embarrassed to say this in front of Yi Hua, but now that Yi Hua had left, she was able to say it. Mother, this has nothing to do with you, it is all Yi Hua's fault. Not only did he not correct his mistakes, he even refused to listen to his mother. Dong Huang Baiji said while sobbing. Dong Huang Baiji cried, Mother, just now I really couldn't live on anymore. Yi Hua was too ruthless, he killed so many of my people. End of this chapter. Chapter 1138. Lu Jing felt quite helpless and looked at Qian Yuqing. Qian Yuqing did not know how to comfort her either. Actually, Yi Hua has been tortured by me for the past few days, so his mood might not be very good. Don't take what he said to heart, it's all because mother is incompetent. Don't leave. The one who is going to leave is mother. It's mother who has dragged you all down. Lu Jing sighed. They were originally very happy, but it was all because of her that they ended up like this. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji hurriedly said, Mother, no, you can't leave. Sometimes, mother really wants to find a quiet place to quietly wait for the arrival of death. Mother's greatest wish is to see all of you live a good life. Promise me, okay? Give Yi Hua a chance. Consider it as giving me, his mother, some face. Stay, Yi Hua needs you all. As expected of a good mother, Lu Jing was able to easily deal with this kind of conflict without any hesitation, causing Qingya and Donghuang Baiji to have nothing to say. How could Qingya and Donghuang Baiji not give him face? Even his mother came to plead for Yi Hua. It could be considered as giving him a way out of this embarrassing situation. However, this matter was definitely not going to end just like that. Yi Hua had to apologize for what had happened back then, and he had to apologize properly. Lu Jing heaved a sigh of relief when she saw that her daughter-in-law was stabilized. Her son had to deal with the matters outside. As a mother, she could only deal with the problem of her son's harem. Big sister. At this time, Qing Yutong walked into the bedroom and shouted out. Seeing that her little sister had arrived, Qingya felt wronged and immediately threw herself into Qing Yutong's embrace and cried bitterly. Yutong, your brother-in-law isn't a good person. Qing Yutong didn't have much feelings towards this matter. Back then, weren't the two of you the ones who were making a fuss about running away from home? Brother-in-law was forced into a corner, so I could only think of a way to make you feel touched. However, with the Ying family's meager strength, how could they pose a threat? That was why they had sent someone over. Since it was a show, it was inevitable that there would be casualties. Brother-in-law is a bit extreme, but in the end, it was you guys who did it. Brother-in-law is willing to play the male lead. That is also his love for you guys. With a man like brother-in-law, it wouldn't be an exaggeration even if he had 10,000 people in his harem right now, but look at the current situation. Only 3 women, I really feel sorry for my brother-in-law. And who is this woman? And who is this beauty? Qing Yutong hadn't seen Lu Jing and Qian Yuqing, and she had already left the house before this. Now he was also very puzzled. You must be Yutong. Lu Jing looked at Qing Yutong and carefully sized her up. From her outer appearance, Qing Yutong seemed to be a good girl, and her temperament was also not bad, and she seemed to be more mature. If Qing Yutong were to know of Lu Jing's evaluation of Qing Yutong, she would definitely act coquettishly. After all, Qing Yutong will always be 18 in this lifetime. There is no such thing as maturity. You are? Qing Yutong asked puzzledly. To be able to appear in brother-in-law's bedroom in the middle of the night, could it be? Is brother-in-law's taste so heavy now? Yutong, this is Yi Hua's mother. Qingya said. Qing Yutong was immediately startled. The thought that I had just now was so scary. Fortunately, I didn't say it out. Mother, I am called Qing Yutong. I am brother-in-law's concubine. Qing Yutong directly walked in front of Lu Jing and tried to curry favor with Lu Jing. Qingya felt that. I have spent so many years in vain, and in the blink of an eye, I went to curry favor with my mother-in-law. Don't you know how bitter your sister is feeling right now? Can't you comfort your sister? Good boy, you look so good. Lu Jing was very happy. My son's eyesight is always so outstanding. Look at this Qing Yutong. She looks rather obedient. Qingya's personality is not bad, and this little sister's personality is not too bad either. This was also the first time that Qian Yuqing saw Qing Yutong. The wives that Yihua found are indeed all super beautiful. Lu Jing took the initiative to introduce Qian Yuqing. Yutong, this is Yuqing, Yihua's latest wife. Lu Jing even knows how to tease now. This made Qingya and Donghuang Baiji, who were heartbroken, to laugh. Mother-in-law is truly a bit mischievous. In actuality, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji just couldn't accept the fact that it happened too suddenly. And that's why they started quarreling. After all, too much time had passed. It has already been a few years, and the incident had already faded. Just now, if Yihua had coaxed them a bit, they wouldn't have quarreled so fiercely and wanted to fight and kill each other. After hearing that, Qing Yutong smiled towards Qian Yuqing. Hello, brother-in-law's new wife. Hello, Yihua's concubine. Qian Yuqing stretched out her hand, and the two women shook hands, indicating that they were coexisting peacefully. They even felt that the two women had a lot in common. From the looks of it, from today onwards, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji will be in one group, while Qing Yutong and Qian Yuqing will be in the other group. Lu Jing smiled helplessly. All right, the two of you, don't be so talkative, know your limits. Mother is right, Qing Yutong and Qian Yuqing said at the same time. After finished speaking, the two of them went into a daze and looked at each other. How did you know that I was going to say this? The two of them said at the same time again. My God. Imitate what I said. Misconception, nonsense, don't be like this. The few of them looked at Qing Yutong and Qian Yuqing and said at the same time. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji forgot to be angry. These two treasures, Qing Yutong and Qian Yuqing, held onto their forehead at the same time. All right, it's getting late. The two of you should rest early, Lu Jing said gently, then prepared to return to her bedroom to rest. If the mother-in-law wanted to go back, as the daughter-in-law, no matter what, I have to send her off. The four daughters-in-law escorted the mother-in-law to her bedroom. Within the palace hall, Yihua sat on the throne, and below him stood Yi Zizi, Zhu Tian, Brett, and Ren Yao. Right now Yihua didn't have the mood to sleep at all. Just now he had a big fight with his wife. Luckily mother came over, if not, she would definitely beat them to death. To actually dare to fight with me again. You are a guardian? Yihua asked towards Ren Yao. This Baldy looks rather weak. Such a weak person is also a guardian? After all, among the guardians that Yihua met, that Su Jiao and Xing Song were both very strong, but this Baldy is so weak. What Yihua didn't know was that Ren Yao had crushed his strength into a fried egg, which was why his strength was so weak. Ren Yao finally saw the legendary His Honor. Ren Yao only felt that this man is very mysterious. Even the perverted big sister has to stand respectfully in front of this man. From this, it could be seen how terrifying this man is. Thus, I have to answer honestly. That's right, I am a guardian. Then why are you so weak? Yihua asked back. Ren Yao felt a stabbing pain in her heart. This His Honor is stabbing my chest right now. Replying to your honor, an accident happened. Thus I am unable to fully recover my strength. Hearing Ren Yao's explanation, Yihua felt relieved. So that's how it is. Are you the same as other espers? You only remember his name, and nothing else? End of this chapter. Chapter 1139. Yes, what your honor said is correct. Ren Yao replied respectfully. Ren Yao felt that he seemed to know everything. Yihua took a deep breath. These guardians don't know anything, other than their names. What exactly are they guarding? I am very curious right now. However, I will leave Ren Yao behind first. I will take a look at him when the time comes. Go and rest. Yihua said faintly. Ren Yao let out a sigh of relief. This His Honor is rather easy to talk to. He isn't as scary as I imagined him to be. Yes. Ren Yao left respectfully. Only 3 members of the 7 sins remained at the scene. Yihua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up, then began puffing out smoke as he asked faintly. What do you all think about Wei Chang's disappearance? Zhu Tian was not present at the scene. Thus he remained silent. However, even after hearing what Tang Wei said, he was still unable to determine the situation at the scene. Brett was not present at the scene, thus he wasn't able to make a judgment. Only Yi Zizi was left. Your Honor, I feel that this is a conspiracy. Yi Zizi said decisively. Yihua asked faintly. Why? Intuition. Yi Zizi said confidently. Yihua knew that it would be like this. Zhu Tian, what do you think about this matter? Your Honor, there are a lot of suspicious points in this matter. Although subordinate was not present at the scene, why would such a powerful black-clothed man exchange for something with the gold in his hands? Zhu Tian raised his doubt. Yihua said gravely, the purpose isn't to exchange for something. Zhu Tian mumbled. Could it be to lure them? Yihua took a deep breath, then puffed out a mouthful of smoke. If it is to lure them, what is the purpose of it? Also, why would they know about Wei Chang's whereabouts? Or could it be, Wei Chang has long been targeted by them? Yihua's questions caused the expressions of the three to darken. If we were targeted long ago, if Wei Chang had been targeted by them long ago, then the strength of the other party must be very strong. And now that Wei Chang has disappeared, I'm afraid that the other party is already dead. Your Honor, the strength of the enemy right now is very strong. I feel that we should take the initiative to attack. We cannot passively defend. Brett's temperament had always been impatient and fiery. Defending was not Brett's character. Taking the initiative to attack was the way of the king. Brett, where do you think we should attack? Yihua asked faintly. This subordinate believes that the mastermind this time should be the God's realm. As long as we kill those people from the God's realm, it will naturally be fine. Brett said respectfully. It was simply an imaginary enemy. Yihua said gravely. That God's realm's emperor is a piece of trash. It is impossible for such a person to exist. Maybe the God's realm is hiding something? Brett said respectfully. In any case, the battle was about to start. It was time to let everyone know the power of a team. Just do it. Do it until everyone was terrified. Yihua took a deep breath. I can't mess around with this matter. Yihua didn't want to fall into the enemy's trap. At that time, he would be laughed at by his enemies. That would be embarrassing, so he had to deal with it calmly. Your Honor, how should we deal with Qing Su? Absolute Heaven asked. Yihua tapped on the armrest with his index finger and said gravely. Right now, both Wei Chang and Qing Su have gone missing. If we were to take the initiative to look for them, it would be no different from looking for a needle in a haystack. Then, Your Honor, we have to think of a way, right? I am truly worried about Wei Chang. Yi Zizi's relationship with Wei Chang was still quite good, but when it came to their relationship with their emotions, it was just SOSO. Compared to Qing Su, Wei Chang was definitely more important. Yihua also wanted to think of a way, but right now, he didn't even have a single clue, and he didn't know where to start. You all can go and rest first. Let me sort out my thoughts. Yihua said gravely as he rubbed his forehead. The three subordinates left respectfully, and Yihua continued to sit on the throne and pondered. He didn't plan to return to his bedroom anymore, because if he were to return and see those two women, he would feel irritated. They are truly looking for something to do. This is terrible. After walking out of the bedroom, the three didn't leave immediately. What's wrong with Your Honor? In the past, you would always start killing just because you don't get along with each other. Brett said in a low voice. Absolute Heaven pinched onto Brett's cheeks, and the latter pouted her small mouth. In this world, only Absolute Heaven would dare to pinch onto Brett's cheeks like that. Your Honor's mother won't be able to live for much longer. Yi Zizi and Brett didn't know about Lu Jing's matter. After all, back then, both of them had left the bedroom. Your Honor has a mother? Yi Zizi and Brett cried out in surprise. Absolute Heaven nodded his head. A lot of things happened when you two weren't around. Let me tell you two about them. All right, Brett said earnestly. After Absolute Heaven told Yi Zizi and Brett about what happened, Yi Zizi and Brett finally understood. His Honor's mother is actually a deity. Meanwhile, His Honor's mother contracted a serious illness, and the medicine was wasted by a palace maid. Furthermore, His Honor's younger brother seems to like this palace maid. My God, what is going on? Why does Yi Zizi feel like she is watching a television show? That's what happened. Recently, His Honor has been very vexed. Qing Su has also disappeared, and there isn't any results from my research. You two shouldn't go and bother His Honor anymore. Absolute Heaven said gravely. Yi Zizi and Brett, who knew about the cause and effect of the matter, finally understood. Yi Zizi asked curiously. Was that palace maid killed by his honor? No. No? Are you sure? Brett was astonished. His honor didn't even kill the palace maid. When did he become so nice to her? Absolute Heaven smiled bitterly. Not only did his honor not kill the palace maid, he even let her out to work in the woodshed. My God, how is this possible? Yi Zizi found it hard to believe. His honor actually became such a saint. This isn't a good thing. Absolute Heaven placed his hand on Yi Zizi's hand, and the three of them walked together. Absolute Heaven said in a low voice, I heard that his honor and his younger brother came to an agreement, which is why he didn't kill the palace maid. So that's how it is, his honor's younger brother likes this palace maid. Absolute Heaven nodded his head. However, the one that Yi Ju Tian is going to marry is another woman. The corner of Brett's mouth twitched. Why do I feel like I am watching a palace drama? How about we go and take a look at this palace maid then? Right now, Yi Zizi was very curious about this palace maid. Brett was also very curious. What kind of palace maid was able to captivate his honor's younger brother? You two sure are gossipy. Absolute Heaven couldn't help but say. Brett pouted his mouth. You can choose not to come. Wife, accompanying you is my responsibility. Absolute Heaven hurriedly followed after Brett. He discovered that Brett had become a lot sexier recently. On the other side, Qingye and the others sent Lu Jing back to her bedroom, and the four noble women were walking in the imperial palace. Qingye and Donghuang Baiji were still very angry. It has been such a long time, yet I still haven't seen Yi Zichen. Qing Yutong decided to stand up for her brother-in-law and said, Big sister Baiji, you two shouldn't have quarreled with brother-in-law. End of chapter. That you're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.